Dumbass writing competition. Let's go, boys. So,
Me chewing the microphone.
let us spin the wheel.
It's
Spins the
Riley.
wheels.
Is it really?
It's Diria. You're going first.
Oh my god, I'm so fucking.
Please, actually, wait. Can we get volunteers first?
No.
No.
Why not?
We're spinning the wheel. I should have done
It's
this
gonna
for
be
the
so
old ones.
cringe.
It puts you on the spot. You're the opening piece, so I better be impressed here.
It's gonna be so cringe.
Okay, let me ask.
It's
Would
not
you-
even.
Would you prefer I open with my piece?
Yeah.
All right, then let me change my name on this piece.
Oh wait, Chris, I have a question. Did you ever revise that piece?
No, I didn't have a time to. Well, I did have time
That's
to,
an
but I
oof.
didn't have a, but I didn't have a chance to.
That's an oof. I'm gonna be
think-
honest. That is an oof.
Yes.
Wait, why? I think mini
It's not,
is
no,
like
it's not
around.
bad. It's not bad. It's just. Okay,
You
so
sound
for
like my
me,
mom.
for me, the hardest part of writing is when you write something and you know it has more potential, but like you can't just get there.
Yeah. All right. So.
I'm very
y'all-
perfectionist.
This is my piece, the one that I was gonna write for the writing competition, but I never had a chance to because fucking Dirie decided to cancel the date that Tanner could work, or whatever, because he's a dumbass and doesn't know how to do his homework on time.
Gamer.
Dumbass. Fuck you. Anyhow, Martyr of a Frozen World by me. The world is one that is constantly frozen over, and having forgotten what most humans knew was a modern world before. Nations still fight over things like nationalism and past grudges. With the winter being unbearable and suffering for any soldiers potentially on the front lines, and nations still having to defend those fronts, especially during the winter, the world is not so different than before the Great Frost. One such nation is the Federal Republic of the Northeast. Set in a place that the records say was known as New England before the Great Frost. However, to their west, surrounding the Great Lakes, is the Kingdom of Erie, and the two nations have been rivaled since generations ago. Another war is brewing after the prior loss of much of the New York territory that was taken by Erie from the Northeast. Many people wanted to reclaim the territory that was once lost, and with that, the nation was in heat of nationalism that is shut up. Never.
Sorry, this is 10 pages long or something.
I'm gonna perform every line, and I'm gonna do this for every piece.
Wait, I have a question. Why did you name it Erie? Is it because you were trying to get the Ohio vote?
No, it's based off of what a core PV did.
Yeah.
Oh.
Cringe. I'm not interested anymore.
Actually, I did have an interesting story, though.
Yeah.
It depends how it's written, I guess.
I think I know what you're talking about though.
Okay. Many people wanted to reclaim the territory that was once lost. And with that, the nation was in heap of nationalism that has never before been seen. However, technology rose and rose in that time of peace, which would make war more deadly than any before. Soon, war came once more between the Kingdom of Erie and the Federal Republic of the Northeast.
I should have wrote a Yugoslavian connection.
Why do I have a ping? I'm not making Oregon Leahy X Tiger Shy Smut. Sorry, Lapis. While I would have some things to say about Oregon and what I think would happen in the aftermath of the, everything existing, no. One family on the forefront of technology in the military was the Archer family. This technological advancement spearheaded by the second son, Wesley Archer, during his time developing his business sense. Wesley had ambitions in politics, and had served for many years as both president and senator.
Minnie?
Yes.
Oh, okay. I thought your mic was broken or something, but I think it was my internet or something.
Oh
Never
my
mind.
God.
No, it was him, but
Fuck,
just let him
really?
keep talking.
However, with his death and the loss of his estate, to marry Archer. The Archer family only had one man that could possibly take his place. With reluctance, normally honorable and strong-willed Lance Archer agreed with his dying father to marry Archer and reclaim his younger brother's estate. With that shame on him and the lack of love in his marriage, he decided to step into his brother's other shoes. He ran independently for the presidency of the Federal Republic to reclaim his brother's old legacy and take the ropes of the government, still failing in the war efforts that his very own son had been locked in. The nation had great division that was caused by multiple factions and characters across the Northeast. Wesley Archer once owned the largest party, the Federal Republican Party, the center-right party for most individuals. During that time, Wesley had one close ally, Oliver Lawrence, his right-hand man in politics. However, they had opponents. Among them was Augustus, who had at one point been a progressive individual. However, he slowly fell into madness and further into the pits of tyranny.
Sorry.
Why are you
I
laughing?
thought of a funny thing. I thought of something funny, and I was like,
I said Among Us.
Chris.
Very quietly.
Joey, I swear to God, what is wrong?
He said Among Us.
Did he say Among
I
Us?
did not
Chris,
say Among
this
Us.
is Chris. All I have to say is this is quite riveting.
Thank you.
Don't make fun of him. His work is good.
All
I
of this
know.
strife, long before... Just shut up, Riley. Long before Lance stepped into the politics on the national level. However, soon Wesley too fell into madness. He had aspirations to get a constitutional monarchy with himself at its center. Whether this was a fascination with the old mentions of the British, or if he had simply gone mad in a place he felt no change coming from. That did not last forever, and his aspirations for a monarchy soon fell apart. As soon as they started. I fucked that up myself. Do not question it. The writing's actually good, I swear.
Oh my god.
His coalition party, the Royal Militarist Restoration Front, fell apart almost as soon as it came together. In that wake, the nation had no strong center-right parties any further.
So wait for
Wesley
description.
exited politics in disgrace, and probably due to the stresses of being in government and the realization that his dreams would never be realized, he had a heart attack and died. For the content that we are going to be getting, thank you, Riley, for contributing to the cause. Thank you, Riley, for your contribution to the cause.
Sorry.
His entire fortune was left to his wife, and soon enough, the Republic shifted and forgotten him. Wesley was but a memory of the past. However, the nation continued on. When Lance moved into politics, he was not without allies. There was Oliver Lawrence, who was a member of the base bravado party, the seeming successor to the Federal Republican Party. Lance, however, was not without enemies, such as Augustus Smith, the leader of the Legionary Workers' Front, and an abject insane man with an obsession for old-fashioned dueling. Then there was Andrew Stewart, the head of the Plasma Party, who was a corporatist and responsible for hefty control over much of the New York industrial sect. In this situation that Lance stepped forward into politics, it was in this situation that Lance stepped forward into politics, first as the vice president of Oliver Lawrence, then as senator, and finally, he stepped forward to be the president of the Northeast. While his victory was contested by the leftist candidates, his victory was still a victory nonetheless. The question was how his time in office was to go. Why are you laughing?
Joey, did he say Among Us again?
Oh my god.
Those are the bot. Those are the bot.
I fucking hate you. Got rid of the good anime music, man. For this bullshit.
Lapis wanted it. Okay, I had nothing to do with this.
You got rid of fucking the best
You
song.
literally did it.
You cleared 300.
You cleared
I like how
24-hour playlist.
I like how Lapis check the what's it called? Check the estimated time until playing. That's 20 hours.
Yeah. I have a question. Is
I-
there gonna be like dialogue and stuff like that? Or, this is
Eventually.
yeah, Fogger.
Yeah.
I want to see
Mr.
I wanna hear
Inquisitor
Ming's voices.
is Exterminatus. Really
My
good.
voices,
Joey, I
can
swear
assure
to
you,
God.
I can assure you, the voices will not be very good.
You get the reference though.
With
No,
that,
I don't. I don't.
stop talking. This piece already long enough without you two
Sorry.
speaking.
Okay, so
With that, his arrival in the office was wrought with almost instant strife. Lance, the strong and tall man, was caught on all sides with hatred. Fascists, communists, socialists, all threatening to impeach him from the moment he stepped into office. Such a fact caused even greater stress for a man who had only been governor of a state into prior. He was unsure of where his life would lead, and if he could handle the stress of the position. When his friend Oliver Lawrence came to see him in office, he said to him, "Riley, would you like to perform if you were Oliver Lawrence?"
Sure. Let me read this. My voice is not great for this. Where's
Or you could just send me how you think he would sound, and I can perform for him, but
you can wing it. You can wing it, Chris.
if you truly cannot handle the stresses of the position, you need to step away. However, before you leave, you need to secure the presidency. You cannot let Augustus become president, or the nation will fall into chaos.
Augustus.
Spoiler alert, it did.
With such words of wisdom from one of his brother's greatest friends, he attempted to secure April Partridge, a progressive, into the position.
Augustus Mussolini.
However, with the failure of that, and the stress continuing to grow from his position, his son came to meet him on one of his rare leaves from frontline service. Darius and Lance had a nice lunch alone, but that was soon disturbed by some words from his son. "Father, I have no right to criticize your choices. However, I know that you are under such significant stress. I imagine the war is only a second thought to you considering the attacks that you get from within the government. Father, if you cannot handle the stress and deal with the internal strife, the war front is going to suffer. The war needs a strong leader, and if you can't be it, then I will not be able to support you in your efforts as president any longer." That long-winded comment from his son ruined the lunch, and he told his son that he had to leave. He paid for his meal, that was only half finished, and left to return to his office in the capital. After much rumination, he realized that he wasn't strong enough to handle the internal strife and the war. With his position insecure, he forgot the words of his greatest ally, Oliver Lawrence, and gave his way to his power to the madman. He gave the position away to Augustus Smith when he resigned from his position. Soon, he was granted the Minister of War position within Augustus's government. Initially, Lance did see benefits from Augustus getting the position. Oliver Lawrence somewhat thought the same, as the war seemingly improved under him. However, soon enough, with Augustus putting more and more stringent regulations on the people, eventually revoking the Constitution, civil war struck. First, it was Albany, which sought its own independence. Then, it was New York City, which left to form its own significantly powerful nation. Civil war struck the nation, and President Augustus Smith started his tyranny. Martial law all over, and the nation began to fall apart at the seams. While Oliver Lawrence seemingly stood with him, Lance knew he couldn't in his right mind support Augustus. He realized that he had made the biggest mistake of his life. He had given the power of his home nation to a madman, bent only on improving his own position. He soon left his posting at the front and returned home to Providence. Lance decided to fortify his home from the tyranny of Augustus and form militia to defend it. As he sat in his home in Providence, forming defensive plans and utilizing whatever resources he had from the factories within to expand his forces and defenses. During this time, he got a phone call from Oliver, pleading with him to return to Austin to meet with him. However, he refused the call. He said that he would not return until he knew his home was safe. One day, while sitting in his office, with stress ever growing upon him, with guilt riding his soul of having left soldiers without command on the front lines. He listened to the radio as he wrote documentation regarding the rank structure of his new militia he was establishing. He was listening to a government broadcast held by Augustus Smith regarding the state of the nation. The curfew across all the states will be extended an additional month pending review from the Senate. That was when a
Sorry,
voice.
the voice is right.
Yeah.
The voice is really funny. Sorry.
Yes, thank you. That was when a voice, all too familiar,
Eddie,
spoke up.
how would you look?
After doors slammed open on the radio, Oliver Lawrence spoke to Augustus. Augustus, your reign of terror will end here. Step down from your position now, or find yourself another victim of the civil war you have caused. You wouldn't, Oliver. You and I both know you are too late to kill. A gunshot rang on the radio. The entire nation held its breath. Lance's face shut up in a mix of joy and horror. So this was what Oliver had planned to do for the Republic. Not shortly after, he heard an explosion on the radio. Then Boston was silent. News soon spread around the nation. Boston, the capital that Lance had been to on numerous occasions, and oftentimes considered a second home, had become no more than rubble. It is believed that Nero Smith, one of the sons of Augustus, was the one responsible. However, such a case is only the most widely accepted theory. The Republic had lost its president and capital city in one foul swoop. Lance, the one that was become the next president as Minister of War, was called by Oliver Lawrence, who was residing in the Senate bunker, to take the reins over the nation once more. Oliver said to him, "With my treason, you know that you are next in line for the presidency. You are the president that people need, and I have made this opening for you. You must become the president I always thought you could be. Fly strong, Lance." When he heard those words, he quickly returned to his position. He announced that he would be stepping up as president once more. Whether that was a relief to the nation or something for worry, he did not care. He knew his duty. He stepped forward to begin his job as the president once more. He stepped forward to start dealing with the rebellions instead of outright war. He did know he did not have the troops. Fucking hell, I fucked up this paragraph so bad. With areas of rebellions across the nation. He first decided to meet with the Zog of Albany and discuss an agreement to grant the area more autonomy. When meeting with her, the details were hashed out, and they came to an agreement should they put down their weapons. When Lance left there, he had hope that the government would last, and he returned home to Providence, which he had made his de facto capital, in the absence of Boston being a functional city. Then he was called by John J. Kurz, who was widely thought to be a criminal. However, he said he wanted to mediate a meeting between him and the corporate estate of Amsterdam, and that surely piqued his interest. He agreed to go, and that time soon came. When they went, John threatened them both, telling them both to come to an agreement. While Lance was first upset with John, he eventually realized that John simply wanted the Republic to come back together. He never did end up killing the two of them. The agreement that Andrew Stewart and Lance Archer had come to was tentative at best. It was an agreement of independence with some payment pending. However, that agreement can never come to fruition. When Lance returned to Providence, he soon heard the announcement. Augustus was alive, and he knew what that meant. Originally, he didn't want to give the title he had back. He struggled with it for a bit, before he realized that Augustus had done this by getting the military on his side. And with that, Lance reluctantly handed the presidency back to Augustus. All of his agreements fell apart upon the return of Augustus. All of the efforts he made to attempt to take the Republic out of civil war had ended and been destroyed. As soon as Augustus once more seized power, Lance returned home once more, and it wasn't long before he heard of the arrest of his friend, Oliver Lawrence. With his friend jailed, and disgrace all over, he wasn't sure what to do. Soon enough, John Kurtz from his island to the south of Providence, and they discussed a plan. They discussed a plan to do one thing they think of to regain Lance's honor and grace. They discussed a plan to kill the King of Erie. Lance began to take lessons and learn how to fly the planes that were owned by Archer Holdings. He learned to fly the Archer Hurricane, and with that, with the assistance of John Kurtz, their plan was soon to come to fruition. All it would take was a bit of time and preparations for the fight to come. The time soon came, and with a flight of over 50 planes into Quebec's territory, they soon plotted their bombing run of Detroit, the capital of Erie. Just north, their plot soon began. The planes all flew down towards the capital. Lance was in leadership of a wing of Archer Hurricanes, while John was somewhere among the many Archer flying fortresses. Their final flight was soon to come. They were about to arrive at the capital. While planes had been around for a long time, Erie had little preparation for a direct bombing run of their capital. They surely sent out some of their own fighters and interceptors to prevent the iron rain from hitting them. Flak filled the skies over Detroit, and the bombing run soon began. The first one hit an airfield closer to their approach vector. The second hit a military base that held much of the Erie High Command. Then there was one final bombing run available. The rest of his planes had turned back at that point. It was just Lance, his wing, and John J. Kurtz's Archer Flying Fortress. They approached the Palace of the King. As they approached, Flak took down many of their wing of fighters, alongside damaging the bomber. As soon as they approached the palace, the Flying Fortress had its engines taken out by an enemy fighter. Lance was then hit by a flak shell and was quickly approaching the ground. In his final moments in the sky, he saw the bombardment of the Archer Flying Fortress hit the palace, and Lance blacked out. Then he awakened. He was bloodied all over from the crash. He appeared to have hit a barn, and he pulled himself out of his smoking plane. As he did, he saw about a section's worth of Erie soldiers quickly approach him and surround him. Lance put his hands up, and he was quickly seized, his hands tied and his weapons removed off of him. He was taken into custody and interrogated, tortured more like. His execution soon to come. His fingernails were ripped out, and many of his bones broken. They tried to find who ordered his attack. They wanted to find who to retaliate it against, whether that be the Northeast or Quebec. He never gave them a straight answer, and told the interrogators, "You can go fuck yourselves, Erie dogs." Of course, with that, he earned himself another beating from the guards that were interrogating him. His torture continued for days, till they finally determined it wasn't worth it to keep him around. They scheduled for his execution, and the king was to be there. When Lance heard the king was alive, he was angered. He had failed in his mission to regain his honor as a man. He ruminated over his days and decisions, recovering as much as he could. He didn't want to look terrible for the Erie press and for his public execution. While he still had multiple broken ribs, and no less than ever on his finger, one of the fingers on his left hand being virtually useless after what they did to it. The days passed, and soon enough, he was brought out of his cell. They brought him along to the execution grounds, where he was brought before the king. They brought him in via truck, and when they arrived, the Erie citizens surrounded him. They threw things at him, some hitting his chest, stopping him in his tracks at times. Of course, that got him a slap from the Erie guards. However, that didn't matter to him. He was walked forward and forced to kneel before the Erie king. "You, Lance Archer, once a great name of the Federal Republic, once the president of your dying nation, you who kneel before me have failed. You attempted to kill me and my family. You shall die here today, dead in the disgrace that you have failed once more. You never can succeed, can you, ex-president Lance Archer?" The king taunted him. Soon enough, he was dragged along to a gallows. He was to be hanged for everyone to see. He saw the perfect moment. While before he had accepted his death, he intuitively knew what he soon saw. He saw the perfect moment to kill the king. He headbutted the guard just behind him and grabbed his sidearm. He first shot the other guard in the chest and then raised his arms to shoot the king. He had one thing to say before he knew he was to die. "King of Erie, your tyranny and reign ends here. Die, worm." With those words, he pulled the trigger, hitting the king square between the eyes. He saw the blood exit before he felt his entire body soon be filled with lead. He dropped the gun in his hands. and he soon fell to the ground himself. He fell to his face, and felt his blood gushing out, his body getting colder. He thought of his past, his decisions. He wondered if this was enough to bring back his honor. He wondered if this would turn the tide of the war he so desperately wanted to end. He wondered if this would mean anything. However, the last thought before he bled out was, will anyone mourn my death? Will I be remembered as a failure, or as an honourable individual by those who care and love for me? I wonder if my friend Oliver will come to my funeral. And with that, his eyes went cold, and finally struggled against death no longer. His body went limp, and his blood stained the concrete around him. Lance Archer, the previous president of the Federal Republic of the Northeast, had died, making one singular true accomplishment before death. He killed the King of Erie. He died to kill the enemy leader. He became a martyr to aspire to be. That was the legacy of Lance Archer, one to live in the history books forever.
Jesus, that changed me.
There we go. Now, Fury, it's your turn. Any comments, questions?
Wait, I have two questions. A, those guards were quite useless at the end.
Yeah.
Are they like North Korean guards or something?
No, they were just not expecting him to actually put up a fight. Because he had been, he had a lot of his fingers broken. And he had been
Yeah, he
tortured
went
for days.
sicko mode.
And he used adrenaline to fucking murder the king.
Minnie, I recommend that you check over my story to make sure there's not. I made sure there's no slurs earlier because I didn't think that was
Well, you gotta send it to me.
matured. Oh yeah, you want me to share it to you?
Just send me the,
It's 18 pages long.
Are you gonna read it
It's
out to
like
us, Riley?
double spaced. Would you like to share? Would you like me to share it with you?
Sure.
Okay. Mini spaz.
Who do you want to read it, June?
I think it'll be too cringe if I read it.
So you
Should
want
I
me to
read
read it?
Or should Minnie read it?
Oh yeah, sure. I want to see Minnie's voices because there's a lot of characters.
Oh no. You're not gonna get a whole lot of unique voices, I can assure you.
All of them will be Irish.
Oh,
Should I
don't you know?
change the? I'll change the title's name before I do it.
What did you call
Wait,
it?
how long have I been muted?
You
I
called it?
called it Tea Time, but I think this is. I think this
Hold
was
on,
my
hold on.
original name.
Before you start, let me use the restroom first.
I'll make it bold. Nah, I'm not gonna make it bold.
There is a
I'll make
Russian.
it Times New Roman.
They're open around.
I had a story that was 30 pages long, but I thought it was too serious and bad, so I decided
What's
to,
wrong with serious?
This one is slightly more serious than most of my stories, and it actually ends. My other story didn't end. That was the problem. This one ended. And there's somewhat of a character arc,
Is there
I
pages?
guess.
Is there pages? How many pages is there?
18.
There's like 5 pages. Damn.
Oh no.
16 fucking pages?
18.
Or is that 8? Okay.
It's so long.
Sorry, it was 2. I actually killed the cop.
Joey, what? Elaborate.
I was looking at it. I saw it.
We have to wait till Optical comes back. Oh yeah, I like your story, Minnie, quite a bit actually. I felt like it was a little bit too exposition-y in the beginning, but I felt like that was necessary because, well...
It had an established
Alright.
setting, and it's only...
Yeah.
The thing's only 8 pages, so I get that's a good portion, but there's a lot of context that was necessary.
Yeah, you need context.
I think it'd be good for like a Hoi 4 event. Just like events and explanation of the Hoi 4 universe. If it's like a Hoi 4 game.
Oh yeah, there's like YouTube videos. Hello!
It's just YouTube.
Like,
Hello.
Hello.
we're doing the writing competition. You just
Hello.
missed Minnie's story. It's pretty popular. Where's your brother, Daniel? Is he still playing, still the game? Is he still in the D&D thing? Oh yeah, he is. Hold on. Optical, are you here?
I'm here.
Why do you call him optical?
Okay.
Just call me Riley. Here, let me change what.
I know your name is Riley,
Optical
but
Riley.
I think Optical sounds cool.
It is a cool name.
Riley
However,
Optical.
However, if you ever want to get my attention, I'd heavily suggest just saying Riley.
Erotical.
Okay, gotcha.
I'm worried how. Do you have a specific intonation I should use here, or
O'Reilly.
just go however I want?
Go however you want, but I do suggest heavily to have different voices for the characters.
Okay, I will try my best.
Because especially towards the end, there's a lot. I would say there's like 6 at the end.
Jesus
How many
Christ.
pages my fuck story?
What did you guys write about?
Hand time.
No.
Joe,
I
he
wish.
did not write
I
about
wish.
hentai. Minnie wrote about like this.
I don't know what I would ever write
Wait
about the
for it
topic,
thing.
but I wish I did write about that. Just because it was
Okay, mine is only like 7 pages or 8 pages, but there's no spaces basically.
Bro, I'm pretty sure mine's gonna be the shortest piece.
Really?
Honestly,
I
yeah.
wrote this in
My
2017.
story starts out as a shit post, but
I
ends
should have written a
seriously,
research paper on melee movement.
Oh,
I hope
that
there's
was
no
great.
grammar mistakes towards the end because I didn't.
Wait,
have
are
enough
you
time.
Are you also part of this writing competition, Slip?
No.
Alright.
I just saw there was a bunch of people in VC.
Yeah.
Well, nice to meet you, I'm Riley.
What a nerd. Anyhow, shall I
You
start?
can start at any time. Yeah, I'm gonna cringe and I'm gonna walk away though.
El capítulo de Nintendo de Consumo de Té. I don't know what that means because I don't speak Mexican. I woke up with a primal urge to consume tea, specifically English breakfast tea from the Lipton Company. Typically, I'm not a tea drinker. I prefer to drink coffee doused in Cinnamon Toast Crunch coffee creamer in the morning since I enjoyed being chained up by my coffee addiction. However, today was different. Something, be it destiny or a brain tumor, is telling me to sit outside on a park bench and watch some kids play basketball as the sun rises while enjoying a small glass of English breakfast tea. I got up from my crusty bed and put on my wife-beater tank top. Since I was chronically overweight, my belly bulged out of the tank top, and my body felt very tight as it interacted with the small tank top. I did not need to hear tank
What
top
is
that many
this?
times in a sentence.
Damn. Sorry, that's pretty good.
Came back from using the bathroom.
It's graphic.
What do you mean by graphic?
It's just very graphic. It's descriptive.
My
I
jugular
definitely
fat.
say it definitely has the good graphic, I guess, way of interesting putting things. I'll give it that.
I walked downstairs, making as little
Oh, I
noise
like
as a 6'6", 350-pound man could. I quickly walked past my sleeping mother and entered the kitchen. As I didn't turn on the light because I am a ninja, I was forced to use my spiritual sixth sense in order to locate where the teapot was. After decoding the location of the teapot, I grabbed the rusty old thing and began to clean it. My mother must have woken up from the noise of me cleaning the metallic teapot because as soon as the water bounced off it, she scratched her eyes and asked, "Who is it?" I didn't reply, of course, because I was a man on a mission. She asked again, and of course I didn't reply. All I did in response to her asinine questions was to clean the pot more aggressively. She got up and turned on the light, revealing me in the corner of the kitchen, cleaning the teapot. "Boy, why are you up at 3 a.m. cleaning a teapot in the darkness? You look like a thief. I was about to get the shotgun from the garage and blast you in the face." I sighed softly and put the teapot down, and said in response, "Mother, I'm making tea."
Would you give them that voice?
This is the voice I imagine having.
It should have been serious like a mother. I'm making tea.
"Mother, I am making tea."
He sounds like
She-
he's from
She
Deep South.
turned her head and
So ridiculously
said,
racist.
"What? Why?"
It's funny though.
I sighed once again, as I realized my mother could never understand the forces of the universe that brought me here in order to enjoy a nice glass of English breakfast tea. "Mom, I just have a tea cravings all." You just never understand me. This is why I am unemployed and dropped out of college. God, Mom, I never even got my puppetry degree because of you. My mother stood there, still confused, but as it seemed like I wasn't doing meth again, she stopped bringing up the topic. After cleaning the pot, I poured some water into it and began to boil the water in the stove. As the water was boiling, I began to look for my precious English breakfast. But as I scoured through the cabinets as a crack-addled squirrel digging through trash in order to find more crack, I was met with a terrifying realization that we don't have any tea. I forgot that my family was American, so of course, we would never buy any English breakfast tea. So in an act of desperation, I turned to my mother and asked in a very soft voice if we had any breakfast tea. She turned to me and replied, "Well, we don't have any English breakfast tea, but we have green tea, oolong tea, matcha, white tea, puree,
They should have made
yellow
them
tea,
Irish.
mulberry black tea, chai, Ceylon tea, barley tea, chamomile tea, chrysanthemum tea, hibiscus tea, honey tea, mint ginger lemon tea, peppermint, rubus/lemon rubus,
Peppermint slaps.
rose hip tea, spearmint tea, tulsi or holy basil tea, yerba mate, and of course I can't forget lemon tea. I'm going back to bed, and I recommend you do the same." I silently cried, but as the tears rolled down my cheeks, I realized that in order to get the dream I desire, I must continue forward. I turned off. This is only page 3. This is not even page 3. This is page 2. It's so long.
Chris, I don't think you can complain about it
It's
being
long.
long compared to your, like, what was it? Was it 15 page?
No, it was only 8 pages.
Oh, it was only. Damn, is everyone making 8 pages?
Mine's-
No, Darius is
Dang.
18 pages.
Oh, that's okay. Never mind then. Never mind you.
I kind of regret making the ending serious because I forgot how like stupid the beginning is. Like the first 8 pages is like pure degeneracy.
I hate this. I hate this so much. I need to look when you started this project. You started it today.
How did I do that?
Did you
I
write
did
this?
10 pages today. I added the first 8 because I did the first 8 last week and then I did the last 10 today.
You wrote 10 pages today? Riley can't even write 3 pages in a day.
I started at like 7 months ago.
I started at like 3.
What are you
I
at
wanna
now?
say. I'm very perfectionist. I'm a perfectionist when it comes to my writing. All right.
Yeah.
I think it's probably the difference. I just go.
Oh my god.
There's probably like a plot hole here or somewhere.
I turned off the stove, closed all the cabinets, and walked towards the shoe closet. I put on a pair of Chinese rip-off light-up sneakers, and a pair of black khakis, and a bright
Pictures.
trench coat. They complemented each other quite well. Why did you put that in parentheses?
I actually don't know. I think sometimes it just lose control.
Similar to the coat of the main character of Invader Zim War. I unlocked the door and opened it, revealing a frozen wasteland. As soon as I opened the door, however, my mother jumped out of the couch and attempted to stop me, yelling, "Wait, honey, don't go outside. There's a serial killer who attacked 6'6", 350-pound 22-year-olds at 3 a.m. I saw it on the Onion." Okay, that was kind of funny. I don't know
That's
why.
amazing. That's amazing. I went. Oh,
It's satire.
Okay.
it's great. That's great, man.
I turned to my overly distraught mother as I took my first steps into the hellscape known only as outside. Mother, there are times in a man's life when they must throw away all rationality in order to get the dream that they desire. See you in 5 minutes, Mom. My mom let out a final cry of anguish as I epically walked. Tap out. I need somebody else to take over.
I'll take over. I'll take over. You have to scroll though. You have to scroll.
And I can just set it to Joey because it's gonna be hard to like the HD.
Can you read
Fine,
this?
Okay, it just got worse. Okay.
Yeah.
When you said it got worse. Oh, how is that possible?
Oh, should I extend it to the flaming Zapdos?
No, just send it to Discord.
Oh, fuck, I forgot I can just do that. I make a little... I'm such a boomer when it comes to this stuff, I'm sorry.
My flaming Zapdos account is dead. Also, the thing flaming Zapdos. Joey Cushel. But yeah, I lost all contact to like that account. My OC account.
I posted in VC chat, so you guys can go stick them.
There you go.
Make sure to
We're
stream it, though, if you're gonna read it.
I want to zoom in. Do you guys want me to screen share?
Yeah. I like to follow it as you screen share.
Here we go. Is the right one open? Yeah, I do.
Good signal. Which page are we on?
Page 3.
Yeah.
Okay. Was it that good? You can't.
Okay. I set in like the plugin. Okay. My mom let out a final cry of anguish as I epically walked onto my front porch for the first time in 5 years. El Capitolo del Lola. Ever since the pandemic of 2020, it became legal to stay indoors, or so I naively believed. This led to a drastic decrease in vitamin D levels and a massive increase in milk consumption. This has led to a massive decrease in CO2, which caused the Earth to freeze over, which led to several new Ice Age movies and mass famine. Since it was 3 a.m., it was still dark outside, so I had to use my spiritual energy in order to navigate the outside. If I remember correctly, my younger, more human days, there was supposed to be a giant eagle located close to my house. However, I forgot which direction it is in. I kicked a bunch of snow out of the way and sat down on a freezing sidewalk. And now I could have walked back to my home and asked my mother where it was located, but that would have been the same as admitting defeat. So I decided to take a meditating pose and inhale for a deep, long breath, and begun to cite the programming code for Google Apps. This required a large amount of spiritual energy, so I had to focus really hard.
Tournament winner.
As the code flew out of my mouth, a picture of Google Maps came to... You guys can hear me, right?
Yes.
Yeah.
Okay. As the code flew out of my mouth, a picture of Google Maps came to my mind. The image slowly distorted from a line of code into a pathway from my location to Giant Eagle. I stood up with my eyes closed and began to walk, only being guided by the forces of the universe. However, as I began to walk, I felt my skechers hit the asphalt. As the snow and asphalt grind against my skechers, I heard a loud swerving noise, and I crashed. The noise, which shortly followed. This noise snatched me out of my meditative state, and I found myself standing in the middle of the road. I began to walk towards the sidewalk in order to regain my meditative state. A large Hispanic male pulled out of the destroyed yellow sedan. He began to approach me in a very angry manner. I waved to him as I walked out of the road, and he grabbed my collar and began to yell at me. What are you saying to the I began to ramble. I pulled his hand away from my collar, in which it swept the spittle off my face. I began to back away from this clearly deranged individual and began to chant a spell that will calm the stranger down.
Athletic.
What are you even saying, Mom? You fucking mute! You bring
Joey.
bro. You ruined my life. You
Hombre.
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 You're the only Petra. I'm gonna kill you. Khalid. Khalid, my chant failed. The man bolted towards me and tackled me into the ground. Although I'm a large individual myself, I liked the muscle, aka I'm a fat ass. That was necessary to repel this attack. The Hispanic man began to punch my face repeatedly as he pinned me down with his large ass. You stupid Pedro. I'm gonna beat you up, bro. As expected, this man was clearly controlled by a parasite that caused people to become irrationally angry. Similar to one acclaimed visual novel Higurashi, When They Cry. If I remember correctly, he defeated a parasite by using the power of friendship. I opened my arms, used all my strength to hug the
Wait,
man.
is that
as he greeted
actually
me.
a spoiler for Higurashi? Because I haven't finished the thing.
I put my arms
Yeah,
around
but
his back
It's
and
a
hugged
sarcastic
tightly
joke mostly.
as they could. What? What are you doing? Get off me! Stop, please!
The enemy's
As he
really good.
attempted to struggle out of my hug, I realized that my hug wasn't powerful enough.
Wait, Joey,
to
can you
help.
stop for a second? What are the chances of me making a reference to like a 20-year-old show and then Optical over here, Riley over here, was watching it at the same time? You truly live in a society. You can continue.
I squeezed him even harder, causing him to cough. As I squeezed him, I began to yell the famous friendship mantra: "You are loved. You are loved. What the fuck? What is this from? You are loved. I believe in you. I love
I
you."
just made it up.
He continued to cough and look at me in a terrified manner. I stared in his eyes, repeated the mantra several times over. He turned to me, tried to push out away again. However, I know I was making progress since I could sense the man's emotions were slowly changing from anger to regret. I shielded to my lungs to friendship mantra and squeezed it even harder. I used my legs to help push my arms up against his back and to me. He began to cough uncontrollably as he squeezed oxygen out of his lungs. His eyes bulged out of his head. He began to turn blue. I looked into the man's soul and noticed his feelings were turned into regret and sadness. The Hispanic man began to put his arms around my back. I let up my pressure, let him breathe since the parasite was not defeated. A cop grumbled behind me and said in a confused voice, "What are you two gay men doing here? It's the middle of the night. Wait. Is he dead?"
Just skip a lot like
Nej, jag bara Sean. Det är Sean. Anyways. Jim someone, yeah? Why are we holding a meeting out last night? My friend's getting wet by the snow. No. The Grand Wizard turned to the face of a small junior furry clansman. What? The small furry clansman replied to an overly oval manner. It's Grand. Ooh, it's Grand Wizard's furry senpai Jim
I
to
didn't
you.
even write it, Joey.
And we are holding this meeting because we have completely ran out of material for an annual cross burning. However, since the inauguration of Mike Pence as Lord Emperor, all of our crosses have been stolen and boarded by that horse lover. We are completely ran out of grape flavored Kool-Aid. I mean, how are we gonna burn a cross if we don't have a cross? Ooh. Fuck, my furry paws are getting cold. Dude, what the hell's happening? Billy scoffed at
Literally took
Jim's
the
idea. Jim, come on. We are only two people here. You must face the fact that the future of racism lies in the internet. We're two relics of the past in order to adapt. We must move into 4chan and Parlor. Oh my god, we're only at page 5.
Out of 18. Joey, how long is yours?
Well, it's 8 pages, but like if you look at it, it's just like a brick. Like this is mine. I last edited July 31st. It says 18. when was the first time I edited it? October 19th, 2017. Okay. This is painful.
I completely agree.
How's you guys doing? How's you guys doing?
Suffering.
Good.
Pretty good. I went to work. I came home, and I'm playing Melee. That's what I do every day.
Melee is the best Smash.
Nah, man. I play.
Obviously.
Listen. All right. What's the one for the Wii again?
Brawl.
Bro, yes. Bro's great.
Oh God.
Brawl subpar.
All right, you take that back, Joe.
So
Take that back
subpar.
right now.
It is subpar. Look at my
Right now.
watch my stream right now and tell me that Brawl is better than this.
Hello?
All right, so I never played Melee, so I won't say it's better than that simply because I never played it. All right.
Joey?
Yeah? Yeah? Hold
Okay,
on.
I'm back.
You
How are
guys
you
ready for more?
If I use the bathroom or something, that's probably because I'm cringing away. But this time I actually had to use the bathroom. So you guys can just continue.
Alright. We're gonna be reading my furry story from 2017. I don't think it's worse than that.
Yeah,
Oh.
that's good. I like the story. When I was from 2017, I read and I liked it. If I remember correctly. If I remember
It was just it tastes as shonen.
it was very tasteless, but you know, it's pretty good. I think I took it
So
too
took over,
seriously.
man.
Which part are we on?
I don't know.
Jim jumped on Billy and began to cry uncontrollably. No, no, Billy, I can't face the reality right now. For at least one more year, let me be happy. I cannot throw away the traditions of scaring black people with furry symbols, such as the OK hand emoji. I just can't. Being racist on Facebook doesn't give me the same feeling as beating up minorities as they go trick-and-treating during Halloween. I just can't handle it, man. I just can't. Remember the 1960s when we walked around down the bayou and tricked MLK's dog with candy and drowned him in a nearby swamp while making Shrek references? I do not remember writing that. Every time he would resurface to get more air, we would say, ogres are like onions. God, I miss the good old days. Billy put his arms around Jim and embraced him tightly for what will probably be the last time. Okay, let's head down to Giant Eagle. I heard that they had okay, it's crosses, but I put oh whoa in the middle and some purple flavored Kool-Aid. Billy, it's grape flavored Kool-Aid, not purple flavored Kool-Aid. Ooh, oh, I am sorry. And while we were down there, let's harass some minorities or the Stir Club, or the store clerk.
Jesus Christ.
4, and then the middle has oh well, memory's sake. Yeah.
For well.
Memory's sake, we will honor our fallen comrades who were obliterated by the 1968 Civil Rights Act. We will honor them one last time.
Christ.
Yeah, one last time. The two men looked at each other, and then to Giant Eagle down the street. As they gazed on the at the giant red letters, which spelled Giant Eagle, they also noticed a police car going by with its sirens blazing. Joey, can you scroll down? I'm reading your thing for some reason. Scroll. So, like, if you put that in Google Translate, I think that would make a sentence. I have been chained up by the Swiss Army knife of a person. He had an electric. Okay. Yeah, Joey, do it. Do it. Copy and paste it. 1 sec. Somebody wants me. Joey, do you not know how to use Google Translate? Go to Google Translate first, and then plug it in. Joey, are you actually? What are you doing? What are you doing?
Okay.
Why are you downloading that? Just go to Google Translate.
But it
Did you
has.
actually download it?
I was going to.
Joey, just go on Google Translate.
It's
Just
safe.
type
It's
in
from
Google
Academy.
Translate.
Okay.
I've been chained up by the Swiss Army knife of Percy. He had electricity magic, which I deflected using my level 5 armor, a bottle that sprayed poison, and a black bat that dealt 50 melee damage. As he did this, he also chanted several magic words such as monster, evil, and black in Spanish, I would say that. Triple special, which destroyed my morale. This chain forced my hands to be tied behind my back, making me unable to use any special spiritual attacks. The person who called himself a cop, he's probably a part of the secret society that captures people with COVID-19. Wait, if I remember correctly, during the pandemic, there was this black man. What was his name again? Oh yeah, his name was George Floyd, and he was annihilated by a suffocation magic by a person who called themselves a cop. Dang it, am I going to be executed the same way? Even though I am not black, I do have 2% of African DNA. I have to escape before I find out. And in order to escape, I need to escape these chains. What's that? Hello, police officer. May I use the restroom? What? No, you can't wait. You can wait until we get to the station, you murderer. I do not know what a murderer is, but it's probably a title assigned to people who are black or epic. The cop must have also noticed that my spiritual
What?
energy
All right, I have a question.
is
How did you write this?
I don't know. I just read it over.
How do you write? That's a simple.
I wouldn't be able to write something like this and be able to keep going. I would just have to stop.
The cop must have also noticed that my spiritual energy is low, and I would need to take time replenishing it, a la masturbating. These cops seem to have a lot of knowledge in mana and beating minorities. In order for me to escape this trap, oh, Joey, can you scroll down? I'm used to use the knowledge which I gained from watching several documentaries following the spiritual techniques of one Harry Houdini. Harry Houdini specialized in spiritualism, which helped him escape from his problems, such as divorcing his wife in order to escape her constant nagging or using drugs in order to escape from the pain. However, he had one technique that helped him escape from the chains that were similar to the one that the cop put on me. The technique was simple. All you had to do was bend your hand at a 75-degree angle and use some sort of bodily fluid in order to lubricate the chains. I used my spit as a lubricant since I can't pee backwards. And then I began to bend my hands all the way, trying to force it out of these hand chains. This is what I will call it now. This is what I will call these chains, which held my hands behind my back. I know that I'm very clever and awesome.
Clever.
I can't. How do I make a snappy noise? Snap! A loud noise followed by a high-pitched scream from yours truly startled the cop. I must have not used enough lubricant since I broke both of my hands, causing mass amounts of blood to pour out of them. This didn't faze me, however, since I decided to continue to force my hands through the two holes. My skin was forcibly getting torn out as my hands rubbed their way through the metal chains. What are you doing? Instinctively, I replied.
I have so many
Doing
questions.
your mom.
Oh God.
Sorry. The cop immediately responded with a confused face as I pulled what was now 2 lumps of flesh out of the hand chains. The cop screamed in horror as they fronted by 2 little stubs in front of his face. The cop passed out, causing the car to swerve and crash into a nearby pole. I quickly entered a meditative state which allowed me to escape the car crash with minimal injuries, i.e. 2 mutilated hands, a broken right foot, and a severe concussion. I looked around at my surroundings and found a giant eagle to the north of me. I ran a block away. I smiled and began to hobble towards my destination. Can you scroll down?
Lack of something to announce. Oh, she's entering the competition.
Oh, loggers. Actually epic. Okay.
Very
Oh man.
Can we hurry
Wait,
up,
didn't
Joey?
I
I
be
have
done?
wrote this shit. Joey, why are you checking downloads? I I need to change my voice. I hid in a bush which was right next to a giant eagle, waiting patiently for a 6'6", 350-pound man to walk by at 3 a.m. so I could ambush him and finally get rid of this disgusting urge which was plagued me for the past few years. Ever since my husband left me, I would go out in the middle of the night, specifically around 3 a.m., and jump out of the couch and begin to hunt men who are 6'6" and 350 pounds. For the past 3 years, I've been doing this with zero results to show for, and the only media attention I got was from the damn Onion. However, today will be different. Even though I haven't spotted any 6'6", 350-pound men entering the giant eagle, I sense that oh, somebody's calling. Nope, I'm just going crazy. It's okay. However, today will be different. Even though I sense that my victim will come here soon enough. This fucking urge won't leave me, man. If I don't find a victim soon, I may attack my 6'6", 350-pound son. I look at my wristwatch and sighed. It was 3:50 a.m. 10 more minutes until I went back home and made breakfast for my neat son. However, before I gave up and went home, I heard a large crashing noise. I stood up from my bush and grabbed my small Goodwill telescope and peered my eyes through it. I watched the young, fat, ugly man-child climb out of the wreckage. And using the quadratic formula, I quickly determined that this man was 6'6" and 350 pounds. I licked my lips and grabbed my 2 knives. I jumped out of the bush and began to crawl on the floor. Even though I had only around 10 minutes, I must make sure that I can't be caught by a giant eagle employee. Next chapter? Can you scroll down? I think I'm halfway done. Or
No.
around halfway, maybe 40%. Jim, okay, can you do the Nazi voice? Joey.
Which
I
one?
can't do it. The black text.
I know, but like,
The bolded
what,
text.
no, but which accent?
What you did earlier.
Which one?
You only did one.
The ooh woo one or the not or like the
Joey,
serious
do
one?
what you think is awesome.
Ugh. Jinsama. It's so hard to move in these hoods. Especially since we're also wearing our furry costumes underneath these hoods. Ooh woo. Jim turned towards Jelly and began to lecture him. Billy. Wait. Billy, this is the last time we can really show the world the might of white supremacy. Besides, the presidential elections, we have to go out with a bang with the show everyone we're indeed the new hip and cool thing. Ooh woo. Bailey looked like kind of confused and said, "That doesn't explain why we have to wear morphic costumes underneath these cum-stained white clan man robes outside when the weather is -12 degrees." Jim yelled at Billy once again. Ew, you! When our forefathers face coined
His voice, I love
Coin
it.
Kaepernick. Did they bend their knee? No. They stopped watching football. No, Billy Channel, you an animal. And embrace the cold. Do you think rabbits complain? Rabbits complain when the my voice is going out. Complain when the cold enters the manhood into them.
Joey,
Of
okay,
course
about
they
the cold
don't
one, I
complain.
insert my manhood into them.
Because they don't speak English. Ooh, woo. But Jim Summer, we're going to die of frostbite if this continues, said Uwu. Billy, if we die, then we die. How? You said like to Tegamash?
Tecumseh.
Tecumseh died of the war in 1812. But Jim Summer, We are not Indian. Duh! Of course we're not Indian. I mean, what does it think we're from New Delhi? Billy sighed deeply. Oh yeah, I almost forgot. Here comes some tea, Jim Summer. What the? For good luck charm, duh. Anyways, Billy, we're here for Giant Eagle, so don't worry about frostbite. Ooh. Jim, why is there a brown lady crawling in the grass? Because Billy, that's how black people walk.
Stay Joey.
I don't know if I can say that.
Say
Oh.
it.
That explains why George Floyd was on the ground. Final chapter. The final chapter is half the book. It's
Yes.
page 8 out of 18 is the final chapter. You're not halfway done.
I could have divided it up into 3, but I decided not to. I hobbled towards the T section. If you don't know, every Giant Eagle has a T section parallel to the porn magazine section. I hobbled past the final Playboy issue and scoured the teas, going past the green teas and lemon teas and onto the black tea section. However, as I was scouring for my English breakfast tea, I was rudely interrupted by 2 boys in ghost costumes. One of the boys was around 5'11", while the other kid was around 4'11". Ever since the pandemic hit, time has started to have no meaning to the average American. So I guess today is supposed to be Halloween. I grabbed one of the nearby Playboy magazines and gave it to the kids. Happy Halloween, kids! But remember next time to say trick or treat when you approach an adult. The children stared at me confusedly and took a small step back. They both wore 2 cat ears over their ghost costumes. I personally found it very odd, but it was cute nonetheless. The 2 kids approached me and grabbed the magazine I was handing to them. One of them, the older and taller one, threw the magazine onto the floor in a very exaggerated manner. I was personally offended by this action since before my father left me, he used to teach me to always accept gifts from others, even if those gifts were drugs or illegal firearms, since it's the thought that counts. I pondered about the time a homeless man approached me with a bottle of booze. I was around 4 years old, and at the time I rudely rejected his offer. After beating me for 15 minutes with a hanger, my father taught me that if a homeless man gives away his most prized possession, in this case alcohol, one should take it and use it for blackmail. I realized that in order for me to become a good adult, I must teach the younger generations the way of the old.
His father's based, okay? There's no such thing as illegal drugs or firearms.
There, I thought you censored this.
It's just a nigga, it's okay.
He's streaming this.
All right.
Delete the mod.
I'm pretty sure it's okay. Well, wait, I'm black, so I guess I get immunity. But GG, yeah, it's a good game.
No, I'm pretty sure Twitch still bans you.
Congratulations, Chris, you're getting banned.
I didn't say it. It wasn't me.
Wait, Chris, are you, I don't have to say. Oh, wait, did I say the N-word already?
Yeah.
In real life?
You
Oh,
said it.
I'm sorry. I was about to say that I can just not say it when I'm reading it, but I guess it's
You
too late now.
literally said it. Like,
You literally said it, not like, bruh.
Yes, I am black. I do have permission.
ba 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 ba.
Okay, I'll continue reading. I apologize, Minnie, for your string. I approached the 2 children slowly, ready to discipline them for their disobedience. As I approached them, the older one of the 2 started to yell words that I recently seen on Facebook. There were some old people nearby us. I assumed they were here to drink some NyQuil or something. And as the child screamed those words, the adults shuddered and left the store. Now, I personally don't understand why those kids were screaming those words, but if these children caused Giant Eagle to lose sales because of these words, then they must pay. I crouched down and lunged at the 2 kids at full speed. As I lunged, I made sure my deformed hands were stretched in front of me so I can traumatize these children. I can't do a loud voice, I'm gonna be honest with you. Joey DMs me. We're playing Contra Robbers and cancel Black
Stupid.
Universe.
I didn't know welfare made you look so deformed. I assume she consented I was 2% African.
Get out of the way, Jim Sama! She tackled the one named Jim Sama onto the floor. Oh shit, I think Joyce would have been better on that one. But I guess it's too late now. I tackled the one named Jim Sama onto the floor, causing him to fall backward with
I
a
thought
large
this got
noise that
serious around the
reverberated
second
throughout the
half.
floor. It's
Yeah.
gonna get to
Halfway yet.
I got off the child and dusted off my clothes. His little friend, brother, gay lover, or whatever, fell onto the floor and began to cry hysterically, shook the motionless Jim Sama. Jim Sama, wake up, please! Wake up! No! I never told you that I was your son! Blood trickled out of Jim Sama's ear as his child cried beside him. I stood there kind of awkwardly as I didn't know what to do. On one hand, I might have committed an act of murder, but on the other hand, their punishment wasn't over yet. I decided to ask my spiritual ancestors for advice. I sat down in the middle of the hall and breathed deeply through my nose. I smelled the despair coming from Jim Sama's child and the hatred which circled around the corpse. I also smelled confusion coming from the clerk's desk and bloodlust coming from outside. And I also smelled my little brother coming into this room.
I don't even know where we are at this point. I've lost track.
We're at page 9. I don't want to read the rest. It's funny, but I have patience issues.
I sat down in the. Oh yeah. I also smelled confusion coming from the clerk's desk and bloodlust coming from outside. The spiritual
you want
energy
to skip
was faded
some-
outside. No. My body began to flood into my pores, giving me the ability to enter the realm, which held my DNA. In short, I entered the realm of my ancestors for my own spiritual capsule, which is the human body. For the next 2 minutes, I have escaped the mortal realm and entered Asgard, the homeland of my people. In this realm, all of my In this realm, all of my wounds were instantaneously healed, and all of my destructive emotions dissipated. I stood there, dressed only in a white dress, surrounded by a field of green clovers. As I stood there, my ancestors throughout history floated down from the pitch dark sky in order to guide me through the troubling times. Through these troubling times. I stole this part kind of from Black Panther, so just it's gonna make sense. Don't worry. Scroll down.
Scroll down.
Joey, don't. I kind of. Yeah, there. That's good. My ancestors manifested slowly from the spiritual orbs into their former human selves. They all floated above the floor, so they don't sully themselves by lowering their souls down to my level. Hundreds of my ancestors, all in traditional warrior wear, stared daggers at me, and I stared back. The leader of my ancestors, Phoenician explorer John Cabot, stood in front of all my ancestors, only wearing a purple robe and a silver crown. He was a very intimidating man. He towered over everyone at 7 feet tall and presented himself in a very enlightened manner. He cleared his voice and began to speak. Hello, everyone. Today's June 4th, 2025. Today we are gathered here because our son, Julian... What the fuck did I write here? Ververgun called upon us. We have been watching your every move, Julian, so we have a good idea as to why you are here. However, I will give you the chance to tell us yourself. Why are you here? I popped up my chest and began my TED Talk. Hello, good Sir Cabot. I am Julian, and today I'm here. I called you all here to give me advice on what I shall do. To that child, my father told me to punish him, but for some reason my soul doesn't want to. John Cabot stared at me for what felt like forever and closed his eyes in a deep thought. He then opened them and spat at my face. His spit crawled down my forehead and left a trail of saliva until it fell off my face. Pretty hot, in my opinion. I got an eye. Thank you, Joey, for posting that announcements.
You like it?
Yeah.
Oh, no.
His face contorted into a face full of anger.
You don't recognize
I
it
saw
from
his
the cast?
veins bulging out of his forehead as he began to his angry rant. You're a pathetic little twerp. You broke the basic rules of spiritualism and you dare come to us and ask for help? You should have. Whoa. You should have been aborted, you cursed child of man. The rest of my ancestors joined up after John Cabot's speech in a chorus of insults directed at my character. You idiot. Fucking brainlet. Your mother went mad because of you, you wrench. I hope you die, you swine. These insults went on ad nauseum until John Cabot slyly raised his hand up, silencing the chorus of anger, and began to speak again. We told you! A small fleeting laugh quickly turned into deranged, flew out of John Cabot's mouth. We told you that you can't interfere with the lower life forms we call humans. You're already pushing it when you hugged that disgusting lowly Hispanic, but now you want to teach some children a lesson? What do you think you are, a teacher? Scroll down. Thank you, Joe. Sweat bulleted down my face. I clenched my sweaty palms tightly, closed my eyes, focused, and opened my eyes again. I stared at the fat cats that stood above me, hundreds of warriors who stood behind a luxurious, angry, arrogant king. I had to calm down and focus, or else I wouldn't be able to effectively rebuttal Sir Cabot's derangement. You, sir, I pointed directly at Sir Cabot, dun dun dun, are completely stupid. Everyone gasped in shock. Never in the history of the realm has anyone insulted the Grand Ruler. How dare you? John Cabot shook his fingers at me and scowled at me. At first he seemed shocked and even embarrassed, but he quickly regained his composure and began to yell at me again. You're a complete fool. Your father left you and your mother has lost it. Your siblings are much better than you in every way. They have a job, they are respectful, and they understand the traditions of old. They use their spiritualism for themselves and not for lowly citizens as you do. Get out of the realm and go back home, you imbecile. You're wrong! You're so wrong! My voice rumbled throughout the realm and angered all of the warriors around me. John Vane seemed to almost pop out of his forehead when my objections came out of my mouth. You don't understand anything, man. I'm not very smart, cool, or even hot, or anything. However, I can tell you this. The world is completely fucked. I don't know why I censored that. The world is almost completely frozen over. Barely anyone goes outside anymore, and the government completely abandons us. We have this special power which can change the world, but all you want to do is use it for yourselves. I don't understand. If all of you could use your spiritual energy for good, we could have been a utopia by now. John spat at me and I spat back at him. Silence enveloped the realm as John wiped the spit off his face. His face reddened in anger as he used his purple robe as a wipe. After he was done, he took off his silver crown, revealing his luscious blonde hair. Do you understand why I wear this crown? I shook my head in response. Every time a person dies in our ancestral bloodline, a carat of silver is added to my crown. God gave us this power because we are the chosen people. If we weren't the chosen people, then why do we have this power? We have this power because we are chosen to have great lives. These carats represent our family, and we have no right to enforce our powers onto other families. Even if those powers would directly help those families, what do you think is right for those families maybe actually be torture for them? Scroll down. Sir John Cabot, if you see a kid starving on the street, if you see a kid starving on the street, would you let them starve because you're too much of a coward? John Cabot's anger began to cause the floor of the realm to shake. Don't you dare speak with me with that tone, you fucking coomer. There's a difference between helping a starving child and radically changing everything without anyone's consent. You can obviously see the direct results of helping a child, but you can't see the benefits of changing the world so radically and so quickly. I can't agree with you, Sir John. There will never be a pool party until this everlasting winter ends. There will never be plants blooming until this everlasting winter ends. Even if my actions may possibly lead to the worst outcome, I should at least try to achieve the best one.
I kind
John
of
fell
want to do
into
that.
the-
Even if my
onto the-
actions will lead to a worse outcome, I should try.
Well, I mean, he is a Coomer, but I
He's
think
a Coomer. He's Coomer as fuck, bro.
I think his thing was that he has a magical power, but he hasn't really done anything to help anyone. But he thinks he might should.
What What page are we on? Fuck. Oh, here.
Joey, you lost where you were. Stop. There. Scroll a little bit down. Scroll a little bit up. A little bit. Okay, stop. Up.
You sure you're on Joey's stream and not mine?
Oh fuck! I'm on your screen.
Huh.
Yeah, watching my screen.
No, I'm on Miss Spaz screen. I was kind of confused as to why it was hard to see sometimes. So it's like, okay.
No, I'm just not paying attention
Is this the right
anymore.
spot?
John fell onto the imaginary floor. You think you are helping people by killing a cop, panic, and a furry? I stared directly at the cackling man. I don't have all the answers, but at least I know that I must at least try in order to get my desired future. And what is that future? One where I sit idly on a park bench, watching people play basketball while drinking English breakfast tea in the morning. I snap back into reality, and the first thing I see is a person pointing a shotgun at me. An old man stood in front of the child who was crying over the corpse of his father. The old man was dressed in a white Giant Eagle uniform and pointed what seemed to be a 12-gauge double-barrel pop shot. Okay, let me say that again. 12-gauge double-barrel shotgun at my face. It seemed that I forgot that I lived in a rural place in America. You fucker! I called the cops on ya, you psycho! Now put your hands up behind your back, you asshole. Billy began to speak as his tears fell down his face. You killed him! You killed him, you monster! The old man turned to Billy and patted his head with his right hand. I guess I should have added a whoa at the end, as he pointed the gun with his left hand. Don't worry, kid. I checked his pulse and he's still alive, but he's extremely injured. I put my hands up and began to slowly approach the old man, Jim's son. I apologize for what I've done. However, Jim Samba deserved it. Billy gasped. That's horrible. You're horrible. That's a terrible apology and a terrible thing to say. I flexed my newly fixed fingers and walked in a very confident manner towards the three people. Before I lunged at your father, I sensed a large amount of hatred and... can you scroll down?
Why? So you can see it.
Hey, I got a question.
I had to scroll my eyes at the bottom.
Is it here?
Is that better?
What? Oh, yeah. What are you saying, Minnie?
Never mind. You're not watching my stream anymore then?
Oh, I'm sorry.
No, it's all good.
Before I lunged at your father, I sensed a large amount of hatred emanating from your father, and although I might have gone too far, the pain of your father caused probably equaled the physical pain I caused your father. The fact that you enabled this hatred for so long makes you partially responsible for his deranged behavior. I shouldn't be the only one to apologize in this situation. You two should apologize. Billy was left agape for a second or two, and then quickly recomposed himself. All he was an eccentric furry who held hateful views. He only expressed these hateful views by words. He's never hurt anyone physically because of his beliefs, unlike you, who brutalized him for insulting you. I scoffed at what I thought was a
Oh
stupid
my
photo. That's what I
God.
should have wrote. Sorry.
Why did you turn this serious, dude?
I don't know. Typically, my things end in like an orgy or something, so I thought maybe I should make it into like a lesson or something.
There's a lesson here?
At the end, there's... Actually, I don't really know. That logic's the same logic that obese elephants use. Don't you think the continuation of his beliefs and his constant advocacy for his beliefs led to more people to fall for them, which would lead to more people actively advocating for these beliefs, which would... Why did I actually write it so seriously? But whatever. Which would inevitably lead to violence against other people? Haha, you truly think that people would follow for words of a deranged furry? I mean, you fell for it. I didn't fell for it, you draft idiot. I'm the only one here. I'm only here to stand with my father. Scroll down. Inaction is the same as action. If I knew there was going to be a terrorist attack soon, and I don't say anything, then it's my fault. The old man looked back and forth between us as we argued. Sweat fell down his face as I calmly approached him. I pitied the old man. He probably didn't have enough money to save for his retirement, or so he's working below poverty wage at Giant Eagle, dealing with us two idiots. Oi! I will shoot you if you don't stop. The old man gripped the gun with both of his hands, causing me to stop for a bit. I breathed slowly through my mouth and into my mouth and continued to walk. If I were to give up and follow his orders, then I will never get my desired future. Bang! I launched back 2 feet as the shotgun shell. I got added. Sorry, it's a climactic scene, but well, Lapis. Hopefully, there is a lesson at the end.
It's the friends we made along the way.
Yeah.
Yeah. As the shotgun shell pierced my trench coat and entered my body, I breathed in deeply in between my teeth as blood exited my wounds and stained my clothing red. The pain was unbelievable, but at first I didn't feel anything because I was in a state of shock. But as reality slowly began to seep in, the pain. Oh shit, that went like 280p. The pain also seeped in too. I clutched my bullet wound, which was located in my stomach, and began to breathe deeply. I need to quickly fix this bullet wound before I died of blood loss. I couldn't call my ancestors for help since they would refuse to answer my call, so I had to scrape my lifespan by several years in order to use it. I'm thinking. In order to use it for life energy. My bullet wound began to slowly heal as I slowly lost years of my life. I groaned violently and tossed and turned as the pain pulsed through my body. Sweat fell down my entire body and was soaked by my clothes as I writhed in pain. Bump, bump, bump. My head bumped like crazy as the pain rose and fell throughout my body. Joey, my throat kind of hurts. Can you read the...
No.
Minnie, what
I
about you?
don't want to read. I'm so burnt out.
Joey,
I'm
Chris,
reading- what am I reading?
you're gonna have Chris.
Do I
We're gonna
start?
have volunteer like Chris.
may you read for a second bit?
Where do I start? Is it here?
At the no, the large no. Yeah, there.
No! As I writhed in pain, I heard a frail woman scream.
Oh, hi, Luna.
I then heard several footsteps, which were followed by a shotgun blast and several screams, which came from the old man. I also heard blood run through the floor. What? Dripping softly from a human and hitting the cold, hard ground. I also heard a small yelp from the boy and several cutting noises. I grabbed my belly and stood up slowly. I had to shake my head quickly because I couldn't believe what I was seeing at first. I saw a woman who resembled my mother standing next to the old man. She was covered in blood and mud and held a large machete knife. The old man was sitting on the floor covered in blood, and his body sat there completely limp. I quickly looked over to the boy, and it seemed like he was acting dead since there was no blood directly on him. It seemed like he covered the blood which was on Jim's stomach and put it on his face. Who are you? Who are you? I was extremely nervous and scared that the police would be coming any minute now, so all I had to do was hold out until then.
I can read now. I drank some water.
I waited for ages.
What page are you on?
I waited for ages for one 6'6", 350-pound man to come into my life to kill. I forced myself not to take out all my anger on you for the longest time, but now it's too late. I will say this only one more time. Who are you? Your mom.
May I read, Minnie?
That's a cruel joke, woman. My mother, although she is annoying, would never
Why
kill
is
a
it so
person
southern?
or hurt me for no reason. Ooh, the woman claimed to be my mother, said with a mocking voice. Now you compliment your mother after it's too late.
Would you like me to go?
Yeah.
I can't believe it. I refuse to believe. The mother I knew collected an annoying amount of tea and bothered me about chores constantly. She was never a cruel woman, and you are one cruel woman. She laughed as if I made an extremely absurd statement. When your father left, and they exiled us from the rest of the family, I had an uncontrollable urge to murder you. However, I realized if I killed someone who's 6'6" and 350 pounds, then maybe, just maybe, my urge can go away. But God forsaken me, and I never found that man. Now, you are old enough where you are no longer my child. So I realized that now I can finally satisfy my urge. I think I'm on mini spaz screen. The woman lunged at me with her knife. I tried to dodge it, but the knife cut my hand slightly. The woman immediately turned and slashed my hand, causing it to bleed massively. I started to cry, not because of the pain, but because I am so shocked as to what my mother is doing right now. Mom, we can talk about this. She lashed at me again. Mom, please look. She cut at me again. Mom, stop this madness. Well, please. She stabbed at me again. I didn't know what to do as she continued to attack me in these small but quick cuts. I quickly took several steps backwards, causing my back to bump against the wall. I took a deep breath. Instead of punching her or kicking her or throwing her or killing her, I decided to quickly hug her in order to restrain her. The machete launched into my sides as I embraced her. I understood that it was too late and she had to pay for her crimes. It became all too late when she attacked that old man. However, before she gets arrested, I'd like to have some time with her before she gets taken away. Blood dripped down my sides. However, I wanted to say some words before I fixed my wounds. Mom, I apologize for being such a trash person. But if you had such a massive problem, with me, you could have done a lot of other things before resorting to killing me. You could have talked to a counselor or me about this. I always talk to you, but you never listen. That final word was delivered with a lot more hatred. Well, kids don't listen when you tell them to do things they don't like, and although I am no longer a child, I still dislike doing things I'm supposed to do. I'm sorry for not listening to you about those things, but I know if I'll thank you. But I know if you brought this up to me about how you hated how everyone ostracized you, then I would have listened to you. You don't know that you would have listened to me. Yes, I do because I'm your son, and I'm not so callous as to abandon my mom. Just too late. She slowly began to reach her pocket. It's all too late. She pulled out a small blade knife and began to try to stab my neck. But she was stopped by a gunshot. I dropped her body as she dropped the knife. I started to shoot her directly in my eyes. I didn't know if I should have thanked him or cursed him. Now we are even. Wait. Now we are even. I turned my hand in confusion. What do you mean by that? Bro! He opened his hand wide in a very exaggerated manner. You don't remember me? I shook my head. Dude, you did some weird shit back there like 40 minutes ago and exercised the anger that permeated throughout my body. Ooh, you're that Hispanic dude earlier. Sorry for destroying your car and almost breaking your back. No need to apologize. I never felt happier. That's good. Thank you for saving me. However, now I don't know what to do with my life now that my mom's gone. Well, first thing first, hombre. Should leave this area immediately before the cops come. Oh yeah. My hand in my chin. I put my hand on my chin. I need to fix this stab him quickly. All right, man. Cops are coming, so you best do that quick. I said as I focused my life energy onto my stab room, cutting down the remaining years I have very quickly. I killed that cop on accident now, didn't I? I caused the cop to crash his car by scaring him. He hasn't chased me yet, so I assumed he's dead. My mother had to pay for killing that old man, then I should probably pay for killing that cop. The Hispanic man looked at his side. He isn't dead. I looked at him in surprise. Oh yeah, he's totally not dead. The Hispanic man was lying, said the narrator. I sighed deeply in relief. I then turned to the kid and told him to wait patiently until the cops come. Fuck, I feel like somebody put a dick in my mouth. Just look to the side.
A submission.
What?
Heyo.
In voice chat, I've got a submission.
We're not ready to Industrial Society in the future.
No.
Luna, it was a meme at first. I guess I should thank you for stopping that crazy bitch.
How long has this
I
been
lightly
going on?
laughed and said, I would assume
An hour.
there's 2 pages left.
Oh my god.
Oh my god, I'm sorry. I lightly laughed and said,
There's 13 pages. 18 so far.
yeah, but the last page is blank, basically. You should thank me. You should thank that Hispanic dude. Billy turned to the Hispanic man. Thank you, dude, I guess. Jim Sama's now definitely proven wrong. Haha. The Hispanic man turned at him and asked him to elaborate. Billy blushed from embarrassment, quickly replied, well, Jim Sama said,
Are you watching him now?
to say that Hispanics are literally heartless anti-furry demons. Everyone chuckled in response.
Cool,
The man called
you need him.
Jim Sama coughed and said, what are you guys saying? Yeah, ain't wrong, yeah. Billy jumped onto Jim Sama in a fit of excitement, which caused Jim Sama to groan. Jim Sama then turned to me and looked at me directly in my eyes. Guess I was wrong this time now. Have anything you want from my... You can have anything you want from my pockets, you damn violent imbecile. I stuck my hands into... Oh, I'm not even doing voices anymore. His one pocket, which was located under his white sheet and on his furry costume, and pulled out a small, clear bag. I sniffed the bag. and realized something. That I was one step closer to achieving my desired future. 10 years later, I sat on a dusty bench, watching a few kids play basketball in the wee morning. They were probably playing before they went to school. I grabbed the tea bag that I got from that day and dipped it into the really warm cup of water. I held the drink with both of my hands and began to gently sip it. The liquid poured down my throat, warming my insides. For the first time in my life, I finally achieved one of my goals, although the tea tasted like shit. Afterward, well, I guess that was the end of the story, but there's an afterward because there's a loop. There's a what's the word called? A massive plot hole that I noticed. Once I died, I
Hard
dissipated
things
into the
about
realm where my ancestors lived. It's almost done though. Afterward is like less than a page. When I went there, I found all of them waiting for me. Sir John Cabot was smiling devilishly, and the rest of my ancestors stood there kind of awkwardly. John Cabot cleared his throat and welcomed me into the realm. I'd like to thank Julian to the realm. It has been decades since the last time we saw him. We have seen each other. How are you doing? I quickly replied, oh, can you scroll down? Thank you. I quickly replied with a stupid joke. I'm doing kind of dead. No one even cracked a smile. One of my ancestors, the shortest one that went by Joburg, said, I forgot you were such a complete idiot. Everyone cracked a smile that time. John Cabot raised his hand in order to silence everyone. Hey now, don't we forget Julian is quite smart during that day at Giant Eagle? Everyone began to nod in agreement. That day was the only day I was slightly intelligent. I took a deep breath and asked the question that I've been wanting to ask ever since that day. On that day when I left this realm and reappeared in Giant Eagle, why did I act much more mature than I usually act? Oh, can you scroll down? I'm trying to like speed run those.
Oh wait, I might have gone too low.
My Venetian ancestor laughed gently. I am a devilish man. Everyone stared at him as he giggled to himself. I apologize that I didn't say this earlier, but do you remember that day I spat at your face? Kind of remember that, John Cabot. I kind of remember that. John Cabot took off his crown and walked towards me. I channeled my spiritual energy into that spit and gave it back to you for your journey. Huh? I gasped and took a step back. Do you mean that everything I did after that, I left the realm that day was because I was under your influence? No, that's not what I meant at all. Although it would be entertaining to see what you would have done if you were actually under my control. Then what do you mean by that? You stupid fool. You haven't learned anything at all. You have to tell you everything? I nodded my head. He palmed his head and scoffed. All I did was give you the power to understand your surroundings that day. All of the decisions that you made that day was because of your educated decisions. See, the reason you actually killed that cop. I actually killed the cop? Let me finish, you daft cunt. The reason you accidentally killed him was because of your ignorance. You thought he was going to kill you because of the limited information that you knew. You only did what you thought was right in the situation. I should still pay for that sin. I killed a person and he did nothing wrong. Even if I was ignorant at the time, I should still pay. This is kind of too late. And you did your best what you can do for repenting by making a desirable future for everyone. Even for that cop's child. Your mother was ignorant when it came to talking out her problems. She took the... Actually, wait, fuck, I skipped an entire line. See, Jim Sama was ignorant until his ignorance was wiped out by your Hispanic friend. Your mother was ignorant when it came to talking out her problems, and she took the most draconian action because she was ignorant. I just said that twice on accident. I and everyone here was also ignorant too. We believed that it was best for us to take care of ourselves and no one else. However, you destroyed the superstition by showing us that you could use your naturally gifted power in order to make a desirable future. The end. I hope you enjoy the story. I hope the story wasn't too confusing or too pretentious. Have a great day, you Virginian libtard. That's what I wrote at the bottom. That's it.
Yeah.
I'll be honest, dude. I didn't listen to 90% of that.
Oh fuck! My thing wasn't even plugged in. My headset wasn't even plugged in, so I couldn't hear you guys.
Oh my god.
Thank God.
Yeah.
You have been shit talking the entire time.
Joey, my headset was not plugged in for the last 20 minutes, I think.
That's wow.
I was just speaking like into my desktop mic.
Wow. That's
I
all
couldn't
I
even
have to
hear you
say,
guys.
'cause
I thought you
this
guys
is-
were just very, very
I have a
quiet.
question. How do you write something like this? Just curious.
Okay, who's next, Minnie? You roll.
Lack of sleep.
Oh no. Please, Chris. Please make Joey go first.
All right.
You roll.
So I've got 4 pieces.
Oh,
right?
you should do the thing. Ah, holy fuck, that was long.
Lapis' turn, but she got an auto like a robot generated story.
She did? Alright, let's still read it.
It'll probably be better than what I just had to suffer through for an hour. All right, Lapis.
Just post it.
You could just post it, but
That was fun.
Among Us.
I mean,
Among Us.
oh no.
Among Us.
Revenge of the. How long is this? It's 8 pages. Why do you hate me?
The Revenge of the Imposter.
Oh, Lapis. Thank you, Lapis. Very cool.
Hello,
No,
Daniel.
I know what I must do, but I do not know if I have the strength to do it.
Hello, brother.
You must do
Where
it.
have I heard this before?
Dear readers, I'm writing a story because I love, but also because I want to tell an important message. Art should mean something. I'm trying to text my girlfriend about reading this.
You can just tell somebody else to read it if you're busy attacking.
Something. I decided my art should carry an important social message as a subtext. I'm sorry for the angers, if this angers people, but I feel something in my heart is very important. Stories not having meaning is a downfall of society. IMHO. Please read and be inspired for change. Thanks, Lapis. A little later, Dave was taking a ship. He was having trouble though. He felt days pass and still no sign of release. Help, Christ. When is epic poo gonna pass? Derry exclaimed. His face winced with effort.
What is this?
I'm sorry, my girlfriend sent childhood pictures. I took screenshots of him. She's pissed.
Joe, you breaking up the flow, bro.
I don't know what she expected. I do it every time.
There isn't a flow.
He made every effort in his little boy body to expel the demon thing from his womanly backside. Just as just as Derry was gonna go in front of the push without warning. The bathroom door suddenly opens and unexpectedly, hello, Derry. A seductive noise whispered from the doorway. A shadowy person stood leaning against the doorframe. His deep, sensual voice was which Derry knew immediately. His mind began racing, the nervous sweating, and poured from his face's groinal area. Hunter Biden, is that you? What are you still doing awake? He appeared in nothing but a towel, seemed ready to take a steamy shower. However, he couldn't with Derry nearby. They were like family now. Biden was like his mother. Biden was like his mother-in-law. And the same person would never allow his own mother-in-law to see him nude, right? Right? Shit. I feel dirty from questing all day. You ever feel dirty, dear? Yes. I mean, no, never. Dear shrieked. He became so he became so immensely worked up that he cleaned his colon cleaner than even species. That's been clanked it. His voice also cried like it was cracked, like he was 13 again. By comparison, the loud flatulent he just released, who cares? Hunter Biden heard though, giggled, took a double baby girl laugh. It's sent Tingle's old dear is fine. You've always been a shy one, dear. Shy one in the family, dear. Dear was not shy at all. You defeated the imposter and blew up her evil machines for Christ's sake. And I suddenly found him still speechless. How's he ever see his
What am I listening to?
metamorphical mother-in-law naked, literally naked? Little did he know that he's really that was nearly a sprinkled banana split of carnal pleasures that had to come. The shy,
I don't know, is
excitable
this safe for
one,
work?
said Hunter Biden, finishing the sentence he started earlier. What the? Before Derek could say anything, let's say the third word of his mouth. Hunter Biden's towel
Oh,
dropped
this is
to
not
the
safe for
floor,
work.
setting his swinging.
Oh my god, are we gonna get fucked by Hunter Biden?
I think I'm gonna say no to this piece.
This
Shut
is
up.
a masterpiece.
This is buying me time. I need this. Chris, I need this.
It's not safe for work, Riley.
Keep reading. Keep reading.
Reading, come on.
Keep reading. Keep reading.
Come on.
Keep
Chris.
reading.
Come on.
All right, keep going, keep going.
Where is it? You went too far.
Oh my god.
This is so long.
Oh my god.
This is so long for being. What generator did you use?
What is it?
What did you use to generate this?
His lickable figure.
The shy, excitable one. What the? Before Jake could see him. Okay. Hunter Biden's child dropped to the floor, setting his swingy bits free into the mist of the shower.
How do we get in a shower?
Daria noticed everything on him, and instantly his lickable figure, his hypnotically wide middle leg, and the small thinky colored birthmark near his rear, which made him feel
Oh my
awkward.
god. Oh my
Still,
god.
the sight of his near perfect body caused Daria's penis to become very hard.
Oh my
He
god.
stood erect and proud, pointing straight towards the mighty heavens. Oh my Daria. You're more impressive than I thought. Yeah. Thanks, Hunter Biden. You're cute too. This is so wrong. It raised his head at lightning speed. For the beautiful, wet, so beautiful body that so spoke otherwise. His shapely body was everything they could ever want to read.
Oh my god.
Yeah. Did family relationship matter, or did it make it matter?
Oh my god. Did it make it better? What?
I
I live in a small house, so I wouldn't have found could hear me. Just as Daria was committing to a path they couldn't back forth from, Daria burst into the toilet. What are you two up to? What? Is there two Darias?
Yeah.
What are you two up to?
Yeah.
Or nothing, said
Two.
Daria. As he casually
Two.
slipped his pants back on.
That's
Hunter
not-
Biden, who Daria didn't
Wow.
notice, picked up his towel and backed out slowly. Really?
Joey, you have to save the legendary line. At least anus.
I
Would you like to continue, Benny?
no.
Joey, are you typing to your girlfriend?
Yeah, my girlfriend's been sending me text messages, but I just ignoring her. I shouldn't.
Oh my god.
This is important. Anyways,
What the fuck?
I was just having a shit. See, Gary gestured to his shit. Oh, that's the shit, alright. What hell of a shit. Okay, if you're done, we better go. Okay, I don't want to read this anymore. Roll again.
I'll go. So Diria put his other pants on and left
No,
in a serious case of
no,
booble.
I'm not reading
Okay,
this.
okay,
I'm not
I'm being
reading
honest with you. how bad was it gonna get at the end, Lapis? I'm very curious. Was there gonna be an orgy between the two clone Diriers? Like,
What the
It's
fuck?
gonna be cuckold relationship.
is it gonna be a cuckold relationship?
Not into this. I'm not into this.
Just
at
Hunter
all.
Biden cuck Dyria
Let me
Oh,
read
with Dyria.
Wait,
it.
Okay, who's next? No.
Just modify the wheel.
No. I will not.
Just modify the wheel.
I will not.
Wait, the main
Modify the wheel.
characters. Wait, Joey, I just realized something. The main character is Ebony, and her parents are Nazis, but she's a Jew. That's the main character of the story of
You
Lapis'
guys want to
story.
watch the Goku
What is that?
X and Frank video?
Joey,
No, we're
it's
not
your
gonna
turn. Okay, send me
we
the
could
piece.
read the original as part of the. Can I just submit that
There he
as
has
my
it.
story? It's plagiarism, but like, can I just do that?
No.
Jerry, you sent it to him. I don't want to read it out loud.
I just want to hear you guys
I'm
read it
burnt
out
out.
loud.
I'm burnt out after reading those two shits.
I don't even.
This is my favorite quote of the entire paragraph of Lapis.
Fine, I'll send another one. I'll get it. Minnie, just know I wrote this. I wrote this like when I just met you, on the airtime.
Oh, is that important?
No, it's just that's how old it is.
Oh, okay.
Not sure I want to read
I
this
think you
then.
might know this story.
Oh my god, it's laws of text.
I know.
It's literally walls. There's no like paragraph.
Wait, where is it? Where is it?
It's in our DMs. You can also watch the stream. Prologue.
Oh, there's a stream. Oh.
Prologue.
Yeah, I've been
Prologue.
watching the stream only.
It must be the same dream again. There's blood everywhere. It's dark outside. I'm lightheaded. I can barely see that I'm in the rocky cavern. I heard screaming. It's Venus and Mom. I get up and see my white fur now black.
Stop.
Keep reading.
It hurts as if I was just burned. My left back leg is broken. Limping all over to the screams, I see explosions of fire and a glowing purple so dark it's nearly black, consuming the orange light. Venus, Apollo, Cryos, run. I hear Dad yell. I try to run, but my leg is not allowing me to. A wall of flames is coming after me. Out of nowhere, Dad jumps in front of me, taking the blast. The body falls onto me, covering me in blood and burnt flesh. My heart is stopped. No, please stop. Leave Venus alone, cries Mom in desperation. I looked over to see that Venus and Mom are separated, both surrounded by bloodthirsty creatures. I try to get up, but I can't. But I try harder till I see blood and bones sticking out of my leg. I can't lose more. My family is all I got.
Serious.
I hear the screams of my family.
They're
I'm
literally
crying like a
foxes.
kit. I'm useless
That's
and
correct.
weak. A blue light flows through the land. I'm losing blood too much. My view goes blurry then black. My vision comes back. I have a massive headache. It appears that it's about to rain, but the sky covering clouds. The fright hits me. Where is everyone? What happened? I look around at the half-burnt forest as the other half of trees have been shredded and blown. There is nothing alive around me. My dad's body is even gone. Somehow my leg is now fine. I'm walking through the destroyed forests I grew up in. A thin layer of ash covering everything. I'm slowly collecting ash on my fur. I make it home. The tree has been split like a victim of a lightning bolt. The burrow I have lived
The
in
burrow.
for my entire that's not how you spell burrow.
I know.
Has been caved in. I walk to the trail of metal. Across the trail, the forest is still damaged, but not fully. The path is clear. I cross, hoping to find my family. I keep on walking. Then I spot them. They're sitting under a burnt tree crying. Mom notices me. She's shocked. I thought you died, she said. Both Venus and Mom are under me. I thought I saw you die in the explosion. She stopped and saw the ash-covered blood. He died protecting me, I said, looking at the ground. I can't look into their eyes. I swear,
Aw.
swear to myself,
This is giving me
I will get
nostalgia.
stronger so I can protect my family. They are all I have. This is so hard to read. Why is this part a different font from this part?
Is it?
Yes.
I don't know. I don't know.
Riley, are you done yet? Have I been
Well,
banned on...
Riley, your shit better be better than War and Peace once it's done.
I can't attest to if that's gonna be better than that, but
I'm fucking hating life so much right now.
so Chris, do you regret being judged for this thing?
I'm always judged. This is nothing new. I'm used to suffering for about 3 hours. For some reason, this one is taking longer than usual. I don't know why.
Like you stopped until like
I
you
hate my
realized
charger.
it's different fonts.
I don't know if I have the will to continue.
I mean, either.
Chris, think about this. We have kind of a social afterwards, so
We're not gonna have time to do all of Katawa Shoto tonight.
that, you say that, but
It's only 10.
it's only 10.
Yes, and we still have your
let's do
piece to go
that.
through.
Your story was like 20 minutes, Chris. My story was like an hour.
I'll be honest with you. Mine won't be long. Mine's gonna be like 3 or 4 pages, maybe 5 at most.
Are we done? Wait, are we almost done with the reading?
No.
No!
I wonder if I can submit a comic. If I could draw a comic.
Oh.
You can do that.
I'm not planning on competing, but I wonder if I could.
You
If I
could.
could get it done, if I could get a comic done before you guys are done, I might just submit it.
Yeah, unironically, you can do that.
I'm gonna start working on
Unironically, you'd probably have enough time.
it. Nice.
My throat hurts so badly
so
for
much.
some reason.
Please end me. Please end my suffering.
Brain
Please,
hurts.
quickly. Please end it. Alright. The roar of
I
the
like the
wind
story.
through the green pine. What?
Blew
frost-
through.
Blew through. The frost on the needles showed that fall was no longer a distant thought, but now a reality. This one has better writing already. Alright. The walking of the golden blaze awoke me from the darkness of my
The
sleep.
waking.
Vinny, don't kill him, please.
I said it. I just feel stupid. But I don't want to defend it. This is dark history.
God,
I'm
I
gonna
can't
read
stand
it.
this.
Prolongist feels wrong, isn't it?
Here we go.
Okay. I just clicked the Discord thing instead of the fucking screen. Okay. The waking of the golden blaze awoke me from the darkness of my sleep. Apollo, hey, look at this, said a voice I recognized. I'm now truly awake. It was Venus, my sister, with her golden fur and snow white ears. And paused. She almost like, Joey, don't laugh, or you're also gonna make me laugh.
I'm
Copy
crying.
of my mom, just younger. The hole we live is buried under a massive fir tree. Look at this, Apollo. Look. She's staring at a worm that fell into her home. Why the fuck would you? Why would you say that to his sister? He was like some other... Why the fuck would you wake me up for a bug? I replied. What's your language? I heard Mom hiss outside. Did you have another bad dream? Venus asked. Joey, it's so hard to do the voices because I don't know who's saying until afterwards. I'm sweaty and breathing hard. I looked through the opening. The sun was half covered by the snow-peaked mountains. When I came out, I saw that Mom had a freshly caught white rabbit. Sorry, I said half-hearted. The three of us ate breakfast. As always, I get the legs, which Venus hates. I've never met my dad. Same. But I almost likely got my blood red coat from him. My ice white eyes are probably for my mom. As for my black fur covering my underside, I don't know where it came from, and my mom doesn't either. Whenever I ask my mom or Venus about my dream, they always get scared and sad, as if it really happened. Is it just a dream, right? Today we are going to put your hunting training to the test. Today's dinner, is going to be supplied by you. Today, whatever you do, don't go to the common land or the rocky cavern. Venus and I decide that whoever caught the most will get the lakes. By the time we split, the sun has escaped the grasp of the peaks. The pine drips the remains of the once crystal forest frost. I walk to the broken plains where the trees, for some reason, are more widely spread out. As I sniff around the damp grass, looking for the trails, you can slightly hear the trail of metal shrieks. The trail of metal is a path the human use. They're enslaved animals made from metal. They sometimes straight up kill them by crashing them into each other or force them into trees. Even in
I have
this
so many
forest,
questions.
there lies many dead metal animals slowly rotting for years and years. I've cut a trail. It appears to be 5 to 10 meters and in the shape of a squirrel. I slowly track this tracks
This,
through the
this is the
long.
worst part. The cringiest part is when he actually starts like the magic dude. I hate the magic the most. Why does it go magical? It makes no sense. Anyways,
No, that's okay. Like I slowly track the tracks through the long shadows created by the still morning sun. The tracks has ended at the end at 3 to 5 year old red cedar. I could climb a tree, but it's hard to get off, so I'm playing it safe and going to hide and wait for him to come down. After an hour, Joe, you don't use any periods.
Oh my, how do
I guess
you
you use
function,
capitalization.
Joey?
Yes, okay. This is like several years old, so. After an hour, the sun has sucked most of the shadows from underneath the trees. The squirrel found this as an opportunity to go scavenge some food. Unknown by him, I'm going to take this opportunity for granted. However, something seemed different about the squirrel. It was dark blue. Oh, Joey, didn't you write this on Discord?
People get paid doctor salary.
I think so.
That's why
Yeah.
there's no. Okay, that explains.
At the start, that was
You probably
wrote
did
it
line
with
by
that on
line.
Discord.
Okay, that explains so much. However, something seemed different about the squirrel. It was dark blue and was glowing dim white light.
Oh.
I feel an extreme urge to consume this squirrel.
No.
I'm shaking in some reason. I don't
No,
know what's
stop.
happening. The foolish mystery reaches the bottom and stops sniffing the air. My blood is boiling. I can't take it anymore. I've never moved so fast in my life. I ran as fast as I could and pounced as hard as I could, but it slipped out of my paws. I chased it after with everything I had in me. It was getting farther and farther away. My heart is beating faster and faster. Now I'm running after the dim light. Then it stopped, an opening. I went through the opening, following him. There was a field of black. Metal animals were running down the field. The squirrel turned around to me and tried to evade my incoming attack, but this time it had less luck. Can somebody? Oh, I'm on mini screen again.
I honestly
Oh,
don't know where.
you're the only one streaming it. The squirrel turned around to me and tried to evade my incoming attack, but this time I had less luck. I instantly tore it up and ate everything, including the bones. He's gonna choke. I was covered in blood, but the urge got worse and worse. Everything was getting brighter until it was 100% white. Then everything went to black. Then suddenly everything goes black. Chapter 2. I'm now in a forest I've never seen before. There's an exact copy of me laying down sleeping behind an invisible but transparent wall. I started to walk over to the fox, but instantly woke up and saw me. Apollo, there's not enough time to explain. Oh, can you scroll down? When you get back home and protect your family, I'll temporarily give you the strength you need. Before I could ask anything, I woke up in the field, still covered in blood. I feel myself getting hot, to the point it burns. I feel super light, and I'm thinking so fast that I feel lightheaded. My family, I thought, I started running faster than I've ever done it before. I somehow feel 3 bodies ahead of me. 2 small, 1 massive. I got there, and a bear, was attacking my
Boar.
family. They were hiding in the burrow, and the bear was trying to dig them up. Without hesitation, I jump onto the bear's back, digging my claws into the beast, but the bear is too strong. And with a simple shake, I was flung into the tree. I felt several bones give, and I lost breath. Apollo, no! I heard both Venus and Mom said. Then the pain grew, and I'm getting hotter, as if I'm burning. I'm getting angry for some reason. All I can think about is the dream, and how I can't lose any more. The anger is growing to the point of breaking. I did the impossible and stood up, or just snapping to my bone as I got up. My mind is going blank with anger. Those thought I ran at the beast. I felt my bones being pulverized by the sudden speed. I ran so fast that it seemed instantaneous, but when I reached the bear turned around, but it was too late. I slid under the bear upside down. My claws seemed to made a black crystal as they slide through the underbelly. There were, oh my god, it's hardcore. I forgot how hardcore this is. There were wars. I went to speech therapy for 5 years to pronounce R, and I still can't, which I could barely hear because of the shrieking pain. On the way out of underneath the bear, I got back up and still sliding. A gush of blood came out, but the monster was not going to give up. It got up on 2 feet and stomps, but I skid away just in time. Then it slashes its giant paws, leaving 3 giant cuts in me. I feel even more enraged. I'm getting so hot that steam's coming off of me. I'm covered in my own blood and the bear's blood, to the point where you can only see my ice cold eyes. I show my sharp teeth. Apollo, just run! Cried my family. The bear is now charging at me. More steam is coming off of me. The blood is on me, starting to boil. I'm gonna say starting to boil. I leap right onto the neck of the surprised bear. I dig my teeth and claws into the neck, slashing so hard and quick that blood flew onto faraway trees. Before I knew it, the bear's head and body is no longer one. I walked away a couple steps. Venus is now running away in terror. Oh my god, Apollo, my mom said in shock and terror. I hope my family's okay, I thought. The pain is too much to bear now. Everything quickly goes black, and I fall.
Okay, I want to make a point real quick. I like how you had like 2 months to write this, and you still decided to use a piece from 2017.
Yeah, I have.
Am I the only one that started as soon as it was announced?
I mean, technically, I did, Chris. With the.
Well, you started with the Russian letter one, and then you decided I didn't like the Russian letter one, so I'm gonna write another one.
Yeah.
30-page story, but I changed to the 15 one.
No.
The 18 one.
That's fine, but I'm more making the point of Joey here. Literally, could have written like a story, updated that isn't fucking what, 4 years old.
I'm gonna be blunt. When I was younger and Joey was producing this every like month, basically like an anime manga thing, I really did like
Every
quite a
month.
bit.
Excuse me.
I don't know how long he took, but it was like
I'm
a TV
impressed,
show.
Joey. Did you make this once a week? Cause like, I'm impressed. I can never write this.
I was planning to like make it into a series.
Yeah.
I mean, if I wrote light novel chapters like that, I could probably do it, honestly. Like,
Yeah, it kind of reminded me of light novel chapter.
Well, okay, I've actually never read a light novel chapter, which is why I would never be able to write one.
It's Werecats but with magic, and it's like a terrible shonen anime.
Fuck. I'm gonna check what they're doing real quick.
Oh, hello, Titus.
I came to see what was up real quick.
We're both in Arma right now, actually.
Oh, well, y'all have fun. I'm gonna do some stuff later.
Okay.
Maybe. We'll see.
I
didn't mean to leave.
Which is sad. This is unironically the first story I ever finished. Except for school or something like that.
I've written... Fuck. Actually, no, there's one story before this I finished. Let's pull it out, boys. Yeah. Let's pull it out. Oh, yeah.
Joey, I think if you like
Did
edit
you finish Joey's stories?
make it like
Should I make?
Are we gonna finish Joey's
Kind of
story?
ends midway
I don't
through.
know. How
though.
far are you in?
There's no ending.
I don't know.
I'm only
but
part
it's
3.
weird because my story just like it just suddenly ends
Are you?
in a
Yeah, it
really
just
weird
ends.
spot.
So it's
Yeah.
it's incomplete then.
Yeah, yeah.
All right.
You can read it to that awkward spot, but that's like holding into like a nut and then just like turning off the
I don't
porn,
think
you
it's
know?
gonna be that good for me, but if you say
All right.
the nut was like
Riley, are you done?
No.
How much
Okay, let's
longer
just keep
do you
on
need?
reading until someone else is done or something, or we read off any story.
Give me 15 minutes.
how's there 3 chapters? Wait, what? Is there a 4th chapter?
There are 4
The
chapters.
4th chapter is gigantic. I'm only on I think we're on the 3rd chapter
We
right
are.
now. How long have I been running? How many times does the smoke-covered sun have to rise and fall till the running stops? I lost count after 12. Once again, the heat seeps into my resting spot. I can see the light of flames sneaking into view. I can't run anymore. I'll fight this threat head on. Come on out, you bastard! I shout. The flames spread quickly around me, forming a ring of fire. The threat walks out. It appears to be an animal emitting flames from himself, but I don't know what. I'm gonna put on my mic amplifier so it's better.
Your amplifier is literally just what you just plug it in at. Dude. I don't know what you call it, amplifier. Dude, I don't understand. Hello.
Okay. The threat walks out. It appears to be an animal emitting flames from himself, but I don't know what. Then it opens its eyes. There, glowing ice white, and with a blue icicle iris, my heart has dropped. I'm terrified, but I have no way out of this. How are you going to survive if you do is run? All you do is running. It shouts. Sounds like me. A bolt of fire flies right at me. The frozen breeze is what I feel first. I can just barely pry my eyes to see where I am. The cramped space and root structure told me that I'm at home, and I'm tired and everything aches. I try to turn
Nice
to
transition.
the exit, but my entire body hurts.
Terrible.
Whenever I try to do anything, I can't move. Joy, I'm invested. I'm so tired. All I can think about is my family, and where did they go? Someone had to put me here, so it must be them. Once again, I'm too weak to do anything. I decide to follow what my body wants and go to sleep. The fog of smoke is what first told me I'm back. I don't know what to do. I'm going to find out a way. I'm haunted by a monster of fire. The ring of fire surrounds me, but unlike the last time, thank you, I feel something insane. I have to run, but the blaze has imprisoned me. I turn around to see 2 copies of myself facing each other. Why the fuck are you keep causing such a big ruckus wherever he's sleeping? Shouted one of them. I need to take out my anger on something, said the other. Why are you wasting so much energy in his dreams when we're already spreading energy on keeping this dumb fuck alive and healing him? We may not be able to kill each other, but I can show you how weak you are. I'm confused on what they said. My confusion quickly gets consumed with terror as I feel tension growing between the two. I don't know what's happening to them, but I need to run. I started running, but I feel lighter and hotter. The trapping flames disappears as I ran through the land. The ground is now trembling to who knows what. Turning around, there's only blinding light, fighting pure darkness. I fall to the ground screaming. My mind hurts so much. Within, I can hear 2 voices warring louder than my thoughts. I feel strength flow through me unwelcomed. I start ripping up from the forest, spraying blood everywhere. Then I catch on fire. But it's not regular fire. This fire is burning from the inside out. And it's so hot that all nearby life was erased. I can't think because the pain is too much, but the 2 other minds are able to, as they are all I can hear. They're confused and stopped fighting, and ran to me, surrounding me. What? Impossible, one thought. What happened? The other was
Imposter.
one question. Then the power disappeared, and I instantly fall. I don't know how, but I think Apollo just consumed some of our energy. There was a pause. That means his soul is now entangled with energy.
What kind
Joe,
of shit? Was I high
We're
when I
just
made this?
stealing ideas between each other, I guess.
Am I like am I just like stealing stuff from Naruto now? What is this?
I felt both of them skip
I
a
was
beat.
watching Naruto at the
Darkness
time.
consumed my sight. Oh, you could be inspired by him. Consumes my sight. I somehow see my burnt body. It actually explains a lot. That I saw. So, darkness consumes my sight. I somehow see my burnt body that has been torn into shreds. Almost nothing is left. A sudden burst of energy consumes me back, and I'm back in my dead body. The energy surrounds me, slowly leaking into me. The pain comes back as I feel my body grow. All of my energy has now been absorbed, leaving me in total darkness. It hurts so much. I'm yelling, but there's only darkness. My body now feels complete again. My hearing sinks back, and my eyes open up. I'm covered in blood, and there's smoke everywhere. My whole body still hurts like hell. I stand up and feel strange. My body feels new. There's 3 giant white wicked scars going down my side. I feel the presence of Venus and Mom. I walked out to see the 2 facing the other
Why did I
way
call her
together,
Venus?
crying.
What was
Mother,
Mom's
what's
name?
happening? Mom, I don't know. Mom said quietly, so quietly, it almost was it's almost a whisper. I'm scared, Mom. Why does brother have to suffer so much? How is he even alive? Why did he just explode again? Why did he just explode and catch on fire? I've seen so much of Paul's blood in the past couple of months. I'm so confused and scared. I am too, sweetheart. Have I really been out for months? What's even happening? Then I remember I was fighting a bear. I feel awful. I've been putting my family through hell. I have made them so worried about me. I look back at the burrow and see ascending smoke. The sky is black with an overwhelming amount of storm clouds. The sight reminded me of the dream. And as I think about it, I feel lighter and swifter. Was that really a dream? The more I thought about it, the more I noticed that it's yes, that is different. I could somehow smell everything within a kilometer radius and feel the presence of living things within 15 meters around me. I don't know what's happening to me, what these dreams are doing. I'm not really good with helping others with emotions. I walk over to the 2 and sit next to them. Both of them are frozen with confusion and shock. Venus runs over to my side. Apollo, are you? Venus rubs against me, but then immediately yelps in pain, jumping onto all 4 legs. What happened? I exclaimed. You were so hot that you burned me. Apollo, you feeling okay? I'm getting hot. Just be near you, Mom asked. I'm so confused. I feel normal. Mom takes a long breath and then looks at me happily. Well, I'm glad. Well, we were able to. We should go see an arboreal doctor. It's almost winter. Mom, a boreal city is far away, and we have never been to a big
A
city.
boreal city? Are you kidding?
Apollo.
That was the name. That was the name I chose for the city.
Maybe I'm pronouncing it wrong, but I'm pretty sure that's how you pronounce
No, like
it.
where is it? Where is it? I highlight it. I can't even see it. It's like in a wall of text.
It's I've never seen a word like this. I assume it's arboreal, or
I probably just like
ARBOL.
put it through a generator online.
I'm gonna still call it arboreal, just for me. Apollo, I need an explanation of what's been happening. And peace of mind to know if you're really going to be okay. Finally succumbed to my mom's request. Are you hungry? Asked Venus.
That's Venus.
He hasn't eaten in 3 months. For some reason, I'm not hungry, I stated. It was the weirdest thing I've ever seen. After seeing you go berserk and killing a bear, I can believe anything. There's a
Berserk
pause.
before it was cool.
Is good on the way to the city. There's a stream for you to clean that blood off of you. Wait. So he had like dry blood on him for over 3 months and nobody just cleaned it off. That's actually pretty hardcore. You better start walking now before the storm releases furry. As we walk through the forest, I see a hawk steal an entire family of birds, except one helpless, lonely bird who is left alone. The lonely bird's screams are consumed by the darkness. Small wings open up, flying towards the beast, but it's too fast. They both get devoured by light seeking blackness. Chapter 4.
Okay, I got my idea for my comic. It's gonna. Oh, it took me a while. I did some storyboarding.
The starved, dim light shines through the black clouds. Frozen flame, killing wind swarms up the sloping forest. My family's huddled around me as we walk, using my heat to stay warm. Water boils off my red and black fur left over from the wash at the river. How is it even possible to be so hot that water boils? Asked Venus with a hint of fear in her voice. How am I supposed to know? I said mockingly. I'm so worried. I'm scared, Venus says after stopping. We all stop with her. I felt ashamed to get once again. Why do I do this to my family? You're different. You have changed. Your ears are twitching as if they are hearing things we can't. You seem to be on edge, as if you're aware of your surroundings. I know that my senses have been somehow sharpened, but is it really that sharp that others notice? I don't know what's going on with me, but please don't worry about me. It makes me scared. I barely was able to say that, Venus. Can you scroll down, Minnie? Shudders at my silent words of distress. Okay, Venus breathes in defeat. Though I don't feel any better, or I don't feel better or any less worried. I know that Venus or Mom won't be multiplying it. What? I'm sorry. The sky is now. Oh, okay. Now I understand. Sorry. The sky is now opening up, flooding the forest with high noon light. I can hear activity from all sides. My family is obviously afraid with my twitchy ears. We must be near the city. There's someone next to us. Why, hello there. Are you going to Arbil too? A male wolf says. Yes. It's just we never seen. Thank you. Yes. It's just we never been there before. I reply. Well, that makes the two of us. My name's Ivory. What are you coming to
fuck
Arbil
Ivory.
for?
Me and the boys hate Ivory. Was Ivory a wolf? Is she a wolf?
Yes.
Oh god. The
It's
worst
rare to see
timeline.
foxes anymore. The kid and I
Anymore? Did they get genocided?
by the machines. I need to see a doctor. Ivory gets worried. What's wrong? You wouldn't understand, I responded. Well, let me help you find a place. Ivory leads us to a forest of giant trees with houses and bridges built into them. The forest gets no sunlight from the green top, but instead is lit by blue bioluminescent mushrooms lining the paths like the human street lamps. There's holes in the trees for
how does he know what
entrances.
street lamps are?
Hey, I think that's where you're trying to go. Ivory points out two trees that merge with the red cross. I think you're right. Thank you. I start walking off, but then I remember something. Oh, how rude of me. My name is Apollo, and this is my mom and my sister. I say, remembering that I haven't introduced myself. Well, it's nice to meet you three, and I hope you are okay. I came here to join the School of Power. I do not know what he's talking about, and it must have shown my confusion. Every being has some sort of energy that can be controlled.
Is he really explain magic?
School teaches people how to use and control it. Still having no idea what he's talking about. I pretended I know what he's talking about. Well, thank you. Goodbye. We both go our different directions. We enter the building and walk to the front desk. We're gonna talk about the healthcare in America. What would you like to do here today? Adele asks. I need to see a doctor. A black feline runs out of the room from the back. What is this insane presence I feel? Yells the old male kitty. I smell smoke coming from my feet. I look down to see that I'm starting to burn the floor.
From my feet.
Get the black fox out of here! I decided to walk out by myself to avoid any conflict. The old cat walks
out of here.
What the fuck are you doing releasing your energy like that? I have to ask angrily. It's the
What?
second time hearing about the energy thing. You can kill someone by
Energy
releasing anything
thing.
like that. What are you talking about, crazy old man? The hat only gets angrier. Don't act dumb. The first defense squad is going to be on your tail if you don't control your levels of energy.
Squad. What the hell?
I have no idea what you're talking about. I came to this town so I can learn what's been happening to me. This is the first time I've been in a big town. Now the cat looks more confused than I do. What kind of things? After I ate a weird squirrel, became powerful, killed a bear, was attacking my family. I was critically injured, got knocked out for months. After a ton of weird dreams, I woke up covered in smoke and blood. I now feel like I'm completely new. I'm in a completely new body with better scenes. The old
What?
man looks at me with shock.
What's happening?
Now, well, if that's true, we need to get you out of here. Become the first defense before the first defense squad comes.
Oh,
Can you
go,
scroll
go.
down?
Is me just sitting there? Minnie, what are you thinking so far?
I'm just
Yeah.
listening. I'm not
They're
even
going
looking.
to-
I'm just listening because I don't want to try and
Yo.
read that.
So, Chris, I have a somewhat unsatisfying ending, at least for myself. However, it is suitable.
Is it?
So I'm ready.
Hello,
whenever.
Sky.
Hello, Sky. We're reading Joey's furry anime.
From 2017.
What's happening in this room?
Care.
Arrangement.
They're reading my furry fanfic.
Oh, where did
from
Daniel?
2017.
Where did Daniel and his brother go? I know Daniel
Is this the old one?
Yeah, 2017.
Is this the one from like
I'm ready whenever, Chris.
2 or 3 years ago?
Do we
Yeah.
want to?
2017.
That's
apparently.
like,
Do we really want to finish this?
it's almost over.
I think we're almost done.
All right, go.
Did we read Darius'
Yeah.
horrid monster?
Yes, we already have.
I would like
hated
to.
it.
I would like to think that it isn't a horrid monstrosity.
It was better than what he
Darius.
usually writes, but that's not saying much.
Darius, why am I in that story twice? Why am I 2 separate characters?
Oh, are you talking about Luna's story? Lapis's story? That's an auto-generated story that she made.
You wrote it. It was the one with Alexa and Dos
Oh,
Pasito.
that one? Yeah. I remember that one. I believe you were like the 4th person to die in that story.
Yeah, but I was 2 characters. I was 2 separate written characters for some reason.
Don't think about the that complexity. They are going to be following your large output of energy. A tall, purple robed creature walks up to us. There will be no need to run. Hello, I'm the School of Power, and I find your situation and story very intriguing. If you follow me to the school alone, you may learn more. I want to accept the offer, but I need to leave with my I need to leave my family behind. Is this like Harry Potter, but awesome? Hey, old man. Yes. Can you watch over my family? The old
It
man
was,
didn't
yeah.
look like
What is
he
this
wants to,
dialogue?
but he accepts to watch over my family. Watch over them. Thank you. Please take good care of them. Venus looks scared. Please be careful, Apollo. Venus yells as I walk away with the stranger. I nod to her. What were these dreams of yours? Asked the hooded figure. It was two of me fighting each other. One was covered in fire, and the other seems to have some black light. After they started
What?
clashing, I was burnt from
I
the
thought they had
inside
ice.
out. And they said black light in the story.
There are 2
Here.
wolves
I know,
inside
but like
of
I
you.
thought they had like
One
ice.
is gay,
It's literally
and the
two
other one is
wolves
gay.
inside of me.
You are gay.
And my
What did he
body
say,
was
Scott?
being choked and burning up. Oh, he just made a Native American reference. Sorry, I lost my track. After they started clashing, I was burnt from the inside out, and my body was being shredded by some unknown force. Then I woke up. The figure stopped in front of a massive plot of land that's been walled off. This is the school, but I want to test my theory about the awakening of your powers. Awakening? Just a theory. We enter a door, and there was a giant hallway with a sign saying, registration due by the next blood moon. Today there's a meeting for future students, but I need to test something on you. What kind of test? The figure doesn't answer, but instead snickers. Takes me to the room full of many students. Mr. Frugsel, how can I help you, sir? A mouse says, who's in front of all the students. I would like you to bring this fox into the crystal room. Only after these students have gone through. But you came in time because we are about to start. Wait, okay. In the story, they say the moose. Oh, okay. By moose, you mean. I don't know why I read that as mouse. The moose takes the first student and puts him into the transparent room.
This is literally
Here's
just
purple
beast
crystal.
stars.
I was about to say, that's what I. Without even context of whatever the rest of this story was, me showing up wherever you are in the story, that is all I think of when I'm hearing this right now.
But they're not anthropomorphic. I don't know how they're doing this. They don't have like arms. I mean, they have arms, but like their legs. They're just animals with magical abilities.
Hold on,
I don't
hold
understand how
on.
they're doing this. How they built a city?
Are they just like on all fours?
Yeah, I assume the moose is on fours taking everyone into class. I think we're almost done.
I'm just not gonna question that.
Even if you could survive bringing out your current max power, you wouldn't be able to control the energy. I look at the students and I see Ivory. Here I go. The moose shouts as purple light came from the crystal into the transparent room. The student shout in pain, and water shoots out of the student. The moose then somehow stops the purple light. Congratulations, you have water energy, the teacher says. Well, that's the wrong voice. Congratulations, you have water energy, says the teacher says. It's now Ivory's turn. Then mine. Ivory gets blasted by purple light. Like normally, Ivory shouts in pain, and things freeze around him. But the moose was having trouble shutting off the crystal. Crystal does shut off, but after around 25 seconds later than usual. Ivory's on the floor, breathing hard. The moose is breathing hard too. I am getting tired. There's this many students usually, Miss Figris. You have to help me if you want this fox to have a turn. Like a curious cat, the moose inspects me. It seems that this fox has already awakened his powers. It's been a while since I've seen a fox after the incident. He inspects my father. Beastars, Harry Potter, Rwanda genocide. He inspects my three giant scars.
The three most important events in human history.
Wait.
It's been a while since I've seen.
Did I actually mention genocide in there?
Well, they talk about how there's no foxes left.
A lot. I think I know. I was going for. I think what happened is like during the big like at the start the prologue, I showed this like giant war going on.
Mm-hmm.
Pretty much all the foxes were killed during that war.
Can I just say? Yo, can I just say something? I'm listening to someone
The Armenian
read
genocide.
this thing, and I don't understand what the story is actually about. But all right.
It's a shit an anime. I don't know.
What happened to doing some kind of dystopian thing with a princess?
It is dystopian. It's the Armenian genocide.
Stacking art.
I think I have a good idea. I'm gonna rewrite this story better, right?
Not
I'm gonna make it actually about the genocide and about how my father killed everyone. Apparently, I don't know. I had some like Star Wars kind of shit going on as well. Near the end, like you'll see what happens at the end.
Wait, I don't remember
at the end of this story. I mean, like near the end of this story, like I actually like do something.
You don't deport the Armenians across the Black Sea. You deport them to the Black Sea.
You deport them into it, under.
Yeah, no. Why would you do that? You just walk them all the way down to like the Middle East and call it a day.
Yeah, or you death march them to one city in the middle of nowhere with the day's food.
You just force them to go into this.
It's funny because it happened.
Deport them to Detroit. What the fuck?
Anyway, this is how we get Chris to get banned on Twitch.
This is on Twitch.
These scars are recent.
Yeah, he is my favorite. Is anyone watching?
I clocked out a while ago. I'm not gonna lie to y'all.
Oh, okay.
Okay.
Oh yeah,
I was gonna say, I
No,
hope
the
that you're not
stream's still
streaming
up.
this.
The stream's still up.
Otherwise,
No, the stream is
Oh,
still up.
okay.
I
Is
just
anyone-
personally clocked out. No, I don't
Is
think
anyone
Chris,
watching?
Chris,
No,
I really
no.
hope no one's watching.
is it good or bad? Is there Armenian genocide good or bad? I need to know.
It's fine. Go ahead.
Oh my god, Chris, no.
Go ahead.
What happened?
Chris is giving the go ahead for Turkey.
Chris
Let's go. Vitamins did nothing wrong.
Chris supports Turkey.
No, it's not
Wait,
a question if
Chris,
they did
can you
anything
check how
wrong.
many-
It's
how
a
many
question
pages
of did it
are
ever happen.
There, it's like one page left, basically. Well, like 1 or 2 pages left.
I think there's
Oh.
only one page left.
Can we please hurry up?
Yeah. Oh wait, there's less than a page left. I can finish this real quick. Let's go. Can you scroll up a little bit? These scars are recent. Where did you get these scars from? And how did you survive? I killed a bear while protecting my family.
I killed a
I don't know
bear.
how I survived. The moose turned to the hooded figure. Mr. Frigas, why do you wish for him to be shot with the crystal if he has already awakened his powers? Frigas then shows his face. His fur is charcoal black with thousands of scars. The shape of his
He's
face
black.
shows he's a red fox like me. He has a wicked smile. He's black. He is black.
Why did
He has
it
powers
make
that
him
are
black?
far buried within him.
It makes no sense.
Whatever you say. I was taken to the room, and the door was shut behind me. I looked at the bush-sized crystal. I'm ready, I yell. The beam hits me. The two voices come back louder than ever. Fire burns me from the inside out, but half of my body gets extinguished. The second voice yells. Black energy flows out of my left side. I'm now screaming in pain as my right side is burning. My left side now
What's
is
happening?
shredded.
It's shredded.
Blood is once more flying everywhere. The moose is now trying to steal the crystal, but Frigas is not helping him, but now laughing. There's a new quiet third voice that's nearly silent, but is growing louder. There's an invisible barrier trying to cover the light of the crystal. I lose control of the two powers and destroy the barrier. The beam of light becomes uncontrollably strong. The third voice is now
Amazing
louder
fence.
than the other two voices. It feels evil. The third voice takes control of the two other powers. I'm now being surrounded by red lightning. The crystal is now tripping, and being absorbed within me. The evil force is now trying to take over my actions, but I'm barely able to resist. The crystal shatters and it fully absorbs into me. The evil's now too powerful. The red lightning is now a part of my free fire and black energy. The third voice takes control of my body with one command. Kill. Turn to the students. Oh my god, is this school shooting or something? What? Turn to the students and the teacher brings us down. God, run! The students go to the panic. The students run out of their lives for their lives. The animals appear in the room. I feel my energy surge, creating a shockwave that destroys the transport.
The music getting more intense as you read this.
And slam him through the wall. The armed people surround me. Steal! They say as they lay their right paws on me. I feel my powers disappear. I gain control of my body once again. My power is now gone. All I can feel is pure pain. The entire floor is covered in blood. I'm sorry. I exhaled my final breath before the darkness knocked me out. The end.
yeah, he dies. That's the end of it.
Okay.
So I say I finished my story. I would say I'm unsatisfied with it, of trying to finish it, but I also am tired of writing. So.
All right, Riley, you're reading it to us.
Oh, I'm reading it. Oh.
That was amazing timing.
Chris, please don't like it. Chris, you're supposed to be the judge.
Fine. At the beginning of the century, people feared the world's destruction would be at the hand of overpopulation, global warming, or nuclear annihilation. Little did we know back then that we should have been looking up at the sky, at our own star. Nova syndrome it was called, an unprecedented phenomenon in which the stars destabilized and began deteriorating, setting it on a track to become a supernova. The discovery of Nova syndrome defined the century, and in the wake of this world-ending revelation, the nations of Earth swiftly banded together in an attempt to escape human extinction. Our only hope was to leave Earth behind and reach out onto the stars. Yes?
I just want to say, now that you're reading it out loud, I want to die on the inside. Continue.
It's good.
I feel that. After Dave reads that out, I think I've lost all confidence I'll ever have in any way of writing. What the hell was that?
I'm gonna be honest with you. I really liked the action scene with the bear.
Yeah, the action scene with the bear is the only good part, but I don't understand the squirrel part. I don't understand.
I didn't remember that. I'm gonna be honest with you.
All right, Chris.
Yeah, let me
Oh, sorry.
continue. So began construction of the Arks, humanity's salvation. The Arks were spacefaring behemoths designed to carry the last of human civilization across the stars. Humanity was now in a race against time to escape the Earth's demise. What followed was a golden age of collaboration, progress, and scientific advancement not seen like any other. The world was beset with a single goal. Sadly, every age will come to an end, and this one was no exception. The construction of the Arks was far behind schedule. We're fine behind schedule, is what you should have done there, Riley. Once the world became painfully aware that not all the Arks would be finished in time, desperation and panic settled into the people. Soon enough, nations began turning on each other to save themselves. Research for the Arks that were previously shared freely amongst the international community was now held as leverage. It wasn't long till nations began to wage war over resources necessary for the Arks. It was a struggle for salvation, so no cost was too great and no deed was too despicable to expedite the Ark's construction. Humanity's darkest hour emerged into the fray as the world was set ablaze and soaked in blood, all in the name of salvation. I was only a child when the Atlas was completed and took off into space. Under better circumstances, the launch of the Atlas would have been celebrated on Earth as one of the greatest feats of human engineering, rather than being envied by others as an escape from a doomed planet. The Atlas was designed to house thousands within its hull. The Atlas's bow is solely made up of rings connecting to a spinning axis to create a form of artificial gravity through centripetal force. So began our journey to find a habitable planet to call our own, the search for Eden. So far, it's only been a decade since we first started our journey. We are unsure if any of the other arcs were completed, let alone made it out in time. For all we know, we may be the last of humanity. Adapting to living in the emptiness of space was erratic, to say the least. We have certainly acclimated to life aboard the Atlas, but our lives on the Atlas have never been very consistent, at least for those that aren't a scientist. Life aboard the Atlas has drastically changed with the discovery of various exotic matter. Over time, in the vast fringes of space, we have come across numerous forms of exotic matter that we never thought was possible. Matter with negative mass, matter that inhabits multiple higher dimensions, matter that violates the known laws of physics and thermodynamics are only few of the scientific wonders which we have discovered. An exotic matter known as Illyrium, that's interesting, has essentially granted us centuries of fuel, replacing any need to synthesize it. A dozen fluid ounces of Illyrium is just enough to keep the Atlas's engines going over for a year. The laws of science which we previously held as true were debased and raised, ushering in a scientific renaissance. We learned how limited our knowledge of the world truly was. It is of great shame that we aren't able to fully explore all of our discoveries. Any of our discoveries regarding exotic matter could change the fate of the Ark, but with limited resources at the Atlas's disposal, makes it impossible to fully pursue all of our discoveries to the fullest. As a result, the science wing of the Atlas is exceedingly competitive, with each research proposal analyzed and approved or rejected by the Directory, the Executive Council of the Atlas, made up of the Ark's chief scientist officers. The space is full of many wonders. It also houses many dangers. Though we may always be on the brink of a breakthrough that would save the Ark, we are also nearly on the brink of collapse. Though for some resources we have found wondrous alternatives, we are still strained for most resources, especially water, which we have not only need for sustenance, but for hydroponics. We rely solely on just happening upon a source of water, whether it be from a planet, a moon, a comet, or a random piece of ice in space. With our with our unreliable sources of water, we are always rationing it. There's not much we can do other than rationing. We can't plan ahead. We can't plan ahead to happen upon a moon with a frozen ocean or a planet's ring of ice. This is the only water. This is only water, comma. Other resources such as oxygen and rare metals are nearly as difficult to come across. Not to mention, the Atlas has many immediate threats from the void of space. If we so happen upon a solar flare, a deadly form of radiation, or get caught in a meteor storm, our laborious journey would come to a tragic end. There are only a small set of threats we could face. The Atlas could come to an... Those are only a small set of the threats we can face. The Atlas can come to an end at any moment if we so happen to crash a stroke of bad luck. In spite of that, we continue on our search for a habitable planet for Eden. I can only imagine what civilization will be like when we reach and settle Eden. With our advanced science, we will at least create a civilization that far surpasses the one of Earth. Though other than that, who knows what we'll create. Even if we don't reach Eden in my lifetime, I hope we find a planet to call home once again, and bring our odyssey amongst the stars to an end.
Never have I ever wanted to die.
That was
More than
actually a
right
fine
now.
little short story.
Yeah, that was fine. It was a lot better than.
That
our-
instantly reminded me of a mobile game that I've played before, but
It reminds
Reminded me of the,
it reminds me of my favorite. Not my favorite. The first anime I ever watched. I showed Derry my first episode. It was awful, but like
Oh yeah, I remember that.
Knights of Sidonia.
It does
it
actually
was
remind me of that
also
ironically.
It's a
kind of like
CGI
game that we've played
anime.
before.
Netflix original.
It was like what? Oh yeah, Sky, where did you get that, by the way?
I told you it's from a mobile game called Seed Ship.
What is that game about?
It's
Never heard of it.
literally about a giant like arc ship basically, and you're the
Joey.
AI, and you have to select a habitable
Yeah,
world
dude.
for people to live on.
Did you
Dang.
post sus
It's
nuts
a-
Among Us in every single
Among
fucking
Us.
chat?
It's like just a real quick little game.
Among Us.
It's not-
Among Us.
It's Among Us.
Posted in
So
literally.
press all the shots.
I literally quiet.
What the fuck did I just watch?
Sauce. Among Us.
Among Us.
Among Us.
Among Us.
Alright.
What does this remind you of?
Daniel said that he was gonna.
Yeah. He said he had a piece,
Sorry.
but
It's
I'll
literally
add.
just. It's literally the Dutch Revolution and its consequences.
No, he said he was gonna make one actually. Like ironically. Alright. It's this tiny comic.
is it done?
I'll ask him. Oh wait, I forgot his internet goes out around 11.
Oh yikes! So that means his internet's not on.
Okay.
So we
Well,
can't.
if
put
his
this up.
comic is like king tier, then he can still win. I'm just kidding. I don't know. But I'm gonna have to delete some of these susses among us.
Sauce. Among Us.
You put in like rules. to...
It is an official rule.
Among Us.
Reaction rolls among us.
Are you deleting my stuff? How dare you?
Joe, you post Among Us twice in a mouse.
I know.
I am not doing that, Lapis. You can kindly go fuck yourself.
What did Lapis say? Ask you.
She said in my Twitch chat
Lapis
that she
has
wants
a-
the imposter story to finish, and I'm not reading that. I'm sorry.
It's something else.
All right, so let's.
Are you gonna take your time to choose a winner, or are you just gonna like randomly pick now?
No, I think I know who got the dub. And it's
Wait,
me.
this-
I won. No.
The council must convene.
Because. Let me I'm gonna go through each of these. I'm going to think about them for a minute. I'm gonna mute and deafen, and I will be back. in
Darius
just a
was the
moment.
funniest.
He must be
Mine was
meditating.
the.
All right, so in terms of comedy, Tea Time can't be denied as being utterly hilarious at pieces. It has great lines alongside being a ridiculous fun fest of idiocy, retardation, and basically everything that you want out of a story, right? Out of a comedy. There wasn't any modicum of seriousness, in my opinion. Even when he said it got serious, it was still a fucking joke, right? Then, when I revenge the imposter, it doesn't even deserve my time. Fox Story. It honestly had some really good action in there. However, a lot of the writing is just bad. So I mean, I just, ooh, yeah, no, that one can't win. And then Odyssey Amongst the Stars, for being 3 pages, and only 3 or 4-ish long paragraphs, it's actually really good. It has a story that it's telling. It's a really good setup to like a setting. It's detailed. It's got a lot of bullshit. It's got a lot of shit that you should like understand, care about. And honestly, I'd like to see it developed into like a full thing, right? But it doesn't have a whole lot of substance because it's still short. It's good, but not the best thing I've ever read. If I honestly did have to choose, like completely unbiased, this one, my piece, definitely has like the most content and the most seriousness and the most like actually good writing, like in total, and it actually tells a full story. But out of the ones that I can actually choose, which this one's basically not even an option, Tea Time, Fox Story, and Odyssey Amongst the Stars, honestly, this takes it up. So, let's go say hello. Hey, cringe ass Nene babies, it's your boy.
Nene.
So, would you all like to know who I decided is the winner?
No.
Yes.
So I've decided it is not my piece. It is not the Revenge of the Imposter. It is not Fox Story. It is not Tea Time. Congratulations, Riley. You got the best piece this time.
I don't know how to feel about this.
Congratulations, Riley.
I mean, you didn't.
Nice.
Your competition wasn't amazing.
It's like
I know.
Evangelion.
No, I'm just disappointed in my own work, I guess you could say.
Yeah, no. You had. If
Riley,
I had,
you made something good though.
if I had to objectively choose, it would have been my piece, but that wasn't an option. So there you go, Riley. You were second place pretty much in my head. But anyhow, let me explain why. So basically, let me actually pull up all the pieces again because I closed out of them. One of them wasn't even a question if I was including it or not. That being fucking imposter. That wasn't even like a concept in my head. That one wasn't even allowed into my thing. I hated every moment of reading it. No, it did not win. Oh yeah, it's Katawa Shoujo background, boys. Katawa Shoujo.
Oh, Karawa Shoujo's based.
Yeah.
Yes, I meant yes.
Why is her
I like
face
the blind
brown?
Joey, I swear to God.
You should just play Katawa Shoujo. You'll find out.
No, I mean like why is half her face brown? Okay. That's,
Just play.
did you get like that burn, Nene? That little
She
became
became
bacon.
bacon.
Joey, is she either interracial or did she get a burn?
No, like open the tab again.
All right.
Joey.
The right purple hair girl.
Yes, Joey.
Her face is burnt or something.
Yes.
She might have like 10% African.
Oh.
Anyhow, let's get down to business to defeat the Huns.
To defeat the Huns, yes.
Yes. Yes, defeat the Huns. We must do that. So,
I don't think you guys gotta play the Minecraft server, Alan.
let me explain why Fox Story was not what I chose. So, at points, it's incoherent. There were some good scenes, but the grammar oftentimes and just overall, like, spelling and a bunch of shit just in it was needs to be at least like completely rewritten. If not, just sort of fixed. Just a lot of flaws.
Yeah, I'm gonna rewrite it.
Yeah, it's not bad, and I feel that it had potential.
Revise it.
Like it could have been like a good epic shonen story that you would like write over like periods of time to be like a light novel sort of thing. No. But this in this case was just sort of yeah. Anyhow, then there was tea time. Let me explain why this didn't win. So, Dirie, what the fuck?
What's that?
It was just a clusterfuck. It was all hilarious but that was because it was retarded. I didn't get like there wasn't really any witty dialogue. It was just sort of like canned retardation, and
it would never peak. It would never peak. He grabbed the angel's penis moment.
Peak shitpost. That's what Chris is trying to say.
It is a peak shitpost, yes, but it is not.
Do you still have the piece of writing where you grab the penis, or did you delete that part?
I have that, but as a Muslim, I don't know if I could write about how I sexually assaulted an angel. I don't know.
Post it, please.
Anyhow,
please.
Let me explain. So basically, it's just a madness, and also it just dragged on for so long. To tell nothing.
I felt like I should have cut it.
I have to
by
definitely
cutting
say
out the
something
KKK
though.
Members.
Yes.
The way you describe things, damn.
You could actually write a good story.
Yes.
Wow.
You could write a good story, but instead, you know what you're doing? You write shitposts. Thank you, Rush. Thank you. I think this is my complaint about you every time. Every single time you have ever submitted a piece. It's because it's a shitpost. It's because it's not a serious piece.
Next time I'll make I'll do better. I'll make a Pogger one.
All right, and then Odyssey Amongst the Stars. I felt that the story was going somewhere. It was a really good setup. It was like a setting, right?
And then it didn't go anywhere.
And then it just sort of ended, and I was just like, damn. That's my like really only complaint. Otherwise, like the setting is actually a really compelling one. It sort of reminds me of like Al Noah Zero, right?
My greatest inspiration was what's the one guy Asimov. Isaac Asimov.
Oh yeah, Asimov, yeah.
Yeah.
The fucking.
I've only read one of his works. What was it? The Last Question.
Yeah, I don't know, man.
Something like that.
Anyway. But yeah, so it was inspired by Asimov. Yeah, no, not Al Noah Zero. What's it called? Suicide no Gargantia. Or,
was it really?
Yeah, it feels like that's the Japanese title for an anime. No, I don't know what the Asimov work you're referring to is as, but Suicide no Gargantia, or what is it called in English?
I honestly don't remember, but I watched that show.
Gargantia on the Virtuous Planet, right?
Oh,
kind of reminded me of like humans have to leave Earth, otherwise.
Oh, what's a
good
episode of it? I forgot about it.
And then
it's like pilot ends up like a mech Gundam pilot ends up on a planet full of water.
Yeah, which was like foreign because like they'd been told like that's not a thing anymore. Anyhow, overall good piece. I do feel that if this was like an actual like story, that'd be pretty dope. But instead it's not. So I'm just kind of sad. Anyhow, thank you for coming to my TED Talk. Thank you, Riley, thank you, everyone, for submitting pieces. You all did very well. I liked it a lot. Some of them I hated. With a passion. A burning passion. Such a great passion that not a single mortal could physically comprehend it. And that's everything. So you all are free to leave now. Dirie?
Not gonna.
Dirie, you there?
Yeah.
I would like to announce the next writing competition to be on April
23rd.
April.
But seriously, 23rd. Dang.
12? Okay.
I tried.
April 12th.
Yeah,
that gives you around 2 months to do it.
Yeah, around the same time.
Oh,
Yeah.
dang, is it really 2 months from April? Oh, damn, right. We're in February, so.
My rules
You're that
regarding
excited
this
to-
are they have to be completely new pieces,
Mhm.
or they have to be extensions of prior work that are reasonable, or rewrites of prior work. So Riley,
Right.
if you want to rewrite or have an extension for me ready for Odyssey Amongst the Stars that is acceptable. However, you
Alright,
just can't,
maybe I'll try.
you can't submit something I've already read. Acceptable forms of writing here are literally anything under the sun. Just try not to kill me with the amount of reading I have to do.
Wait, what would you call
Wait, yo, Chris, what if I write? Can I write a fanfic? Hold on, can I write a fanfic?
I wrote fanfics.
Yeah, I mean, sure, but I
I
won't
wrote
like it
a
probably.
Marvel fanfic.
Oh no, you'll like this one.
Is it gonna be a Katawa Shoujo fanfic?
Maybe.
Anyhow, yeah, so that's everything. And the stream. And
You
then,
guys want something?
yeah,
You want to play a game or something?
April 13th, or
April-
April 12th. Be there or be square. I want as many things to read as possible.
What is the date?
April 12th.
April 12th.
Yes.
It's a whole
Gives you-
fucking month.
well, 2 months actually, but
April. Okay.
anyhow, that's everything. April 12th. You can write literally anything. I just want it to be somehow newish, something new, that I haven't read before. So try
You read a. Never mind.
I'm considering to like make another